10 seconds.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you. How the heck are you, Miller and Moulton, on this Tuesday? First day of summer, right? Officially?
Woohoo! Boy, we can put the shorts on and wear the flip-flops.
I mean, it's only been...
Open the pools up, everybody. Take the covers off. We're ready.
It's only been summer for what, 9 to 11 weeks? I mean, our summer, not everybody else's summer, but our summer. I mean, you know, when it gets to high 80s, maybe low 90s by the very end of March, early April, that doesn't count.
That's summer junior.
Right.
We have to have full humidity and afternoon rain for summer to be here.
Exactly.
David.
I mean, that's just the on-deck circle.
It really is.
In fact, I don't even know if it's the on-deck circle. It's kind of like having to qualify for a save. You know, I mean, the tying run's not yet in the on-deck circle. That's what it's like around the Masters.
To me, summer hits the moment you and I both get up really early. Rufus is gone now, but when you had Rufus, you had to get up and take Rufus out. I get up and I take Frank out. When I walk outside and it's no longer cool, when you walk outside and you're met with a blanket of humidity, that's when I say, oh, it's summer.
And it's like 4:34 a.m.
Right,
too.
Exactly.
Oh, wow, it's nearly 80 degrees and humid. I guess it's summer.
In the north, does the weather just switch like a light? Or does it take time to...
Mid-May is when... April was never a good month. April, anything could happen. You know, the whole adage, April showers bring May flowers, but the biggest snowstorm that I ever grew up in New Jersey happened in, around April 8th.
And I remember a big ice storm as a kid in April when they decided to rain and then get really cold. And basically, and I'm not joking, trees had icicles. The whole tree was a big icicle. So it just depends. It's not anything I think you should ever experience.
No, that's quite foreign to me, actually.
I mean, if you think about it, the first couple of weeks of a baseball season, and this year the baseball season started a week late. It started, I think, April 7th. But normally it starts right around April 1st. And if you think about it, the first couple of weeks, all those northern cities, it's a crapshoot. So it's like, well, I hope we get the game in today. It could be 63 degrees one day and 35 the next. So it's like third week of April, you feel as if it starts to break, and now it's spring. But literally, it felt like summer in the Northeast last Thursday. Meanwhile, for us, it has felt like summer since late April.
Well,
And I
look
mean,
how-
if you watch the U.S. Open, it was 61 degrees
Right.
for the Open. I
Yeah.
mean, so
And remember, it was in the mid to high 80s Thursday and Friday, and then the storm came in, and it was low 60s for the weekend.
that's summer in Boston, everybody.
There you have it.
Felipe, here's what I wonder about you. Because you claim to want to get into this profession. But like many that I've known that want to get into this profession, and David, you may recall a few years back, I had a kid that wanted to intern for us, and he actually went and saw Pat as well.
Right.
Because his mom knew Pat Kerwin.
Right.
And I remember sitting down with him, and he was at FGCU like you, and I gave him plenty of different ideas, and he was all set to start covering the New York Giants.
Right.
And Felipe, you're all set to start covering the Miami Heat, but it doesn't work that way. So what I wonder is just what was the station call letters in Fargo that you did a radio show on?
Oh, man.
Whatever. I mean,
yeah,
make
I don't
them
know
up
what
if
the-
you don't know.
I don't know what the call letters
What
were,
was
but
we
were the fan, Mark.
All right, you were the fan in Fargo.
Right.
So there's a couple of services out there that show you all the jobs that are available in our line of work. One in particular. If by chance afternoon drive and Fargo were available,
Yeah.
and you sent a resume and they said, Felipe, we want you. Do you really think you could go somewhere where you'd have to deal with seasons? Because I think you'd fold like a cheap suit inside of 3 months.
To give you an idea, I was 27 years old and I got fired for the second time, and I was out of work for a year. I'm working in a warehouse making $7 an hour and just loading things into boxes and shipping them around the country. Out of work for a year. And after a year, my two options in the same week, no bites for a year, sent out 200 tapes in a year. No bites. The same week, I had to choose between Scottsbluff, Nebraska, and Fargo, North Dakota. That could be you one day. You're 28 years old. All right. And those are your two options. For the record, the one job paid $15,500 and the other paid $18,000.
Ooh, so I made more than you with my first job than that. Because I have 15.6, I got 300 a week.
Well, and that was my fourth job. I went
Woo.
through 2 TV stations in Scranton and one in Binghamton.
Killing it.
So I'm 28 years old, making $18,000 working weekends in Fargo, North Dakota. Hello. So that could be the dilemma that you face.
Are you hard enough for that? Are you tough enough for that?
I think that's a challenge I'm ready for. And I might not, but
Probably not.
no.
Probably not.
But you know what?
Have you seen snow?
Of course.
Well, no, don't say of course.
You're right. Yeah. No.
You
you're right.
grew
I'm
up
from
in
South Florida.
Miami.
Yeah, but
I mean,
he's-
he went to school at FGCU. He grew up in Miami. And he looks at me like, of course. Really?
It's just how can you go 21 years without seeing snow.
Pretty simple. You grow up in Miami and you go to college at FGCU. I
Sounds
mean,
like a way to do it to me.
I mean,
Make a drive.
hey,
to where?
listen, I don't know about you. I mean, you know, my mom didn't have a lot of money. We had one summer where we traveled. Literally one summer 76. That was it. My mom took me to, not kidding, to Connecticut. Okay, for a day trip. That was a big deal. From Jersey to Connecticut. It was like a 4-hour drive. And then my mom took me to Houston. And we drove 2.5 days each way. Mm-hmm. So, you know, that's why to someone like me, I don't just assume, wow, you know, I mean, you know, I don't take this the wrong way, but there's really no way to take it. In my world, my grandparents didn't buy me a car when I
Right.
graduated something. So, you know, I kind of a check to check guy.
Right.
Wait a minute. Your grandparents didn't buy you a car?
They could have, but no,
Huh.
Very
Imagine that.
generous.
no. Products of the Depression. No.
A card, they might have got you with a little cash in
A
it.
card.
Duh.
Yes.
Right. The D on the end is
Yes.
the key.
Yes.
Okay. I've seen snow there.
Okay. There you go. That's all.
But you know
So-
what? In the cold, you can dress nicer.
Yes, you can.
Yeah.
Except for you got to put a coat on over all of it.
I was
And no
gonna
one can
say,
see what you're
nobody
wearing.
sees it, but you look great.
Yes.
You
Yeah,
look
but you-
great underneath the Michelin Man outfit.
Yeah, but you open up the coat a little bit. You wear
Uh-huh.
pants, scarf.
All his years in the North explaining this to us.
I know. This is
Next, he's going to break down game 3
this
for
is-
us.
All right.
Way. Of course.
I was going to say, yeah, for Tampa Bay, it was a terrific game. Wow, what a strange series this has been. We'll get to
This
it in
looks
a
like
moment.
this looks like an NBA series right now.
It really is. This is the Brooklyn Nets series. We had the terrific game 1.
Right.
And we're thinking, wow, what a great series this is going to be. And then we've had 2 blowouts.
Absolutely.
The only difference in that series was one team was doing all the blowing out. So, who knows? Maybe we'll get a hockey series beginning tomorrow night in Tampa, but at least the series is going to go 5. Who knew? Back to Felipe and the cold. Here's how cold it can be in parts in this country. You would literally go outside for a couple minutes. You would come back inside, you would shave your mustache. And the reason being is that there are certain states in this country in which it can be so cold that
How cold is it?
thank you, Mark, that your facial hair, all right, will freeze and turn into like bristles on a brush. And it literally will hurt on your face.
Other than
Wait.
Fargo, I don't know what city that happens is. Maybe a few in northern Minnesota,
Well, I mean, the whole state of Minnesota, Montana, the Dakotas, Nebraska,
but I wouldn't recommend any of them.
Wisconsin.
Yeah, my friend from Chicago has told me stories of boogers turning into crystals and sliding down his beard. It's
It's a
very
word.
rough.
It's a word you don't hear every day.
Wow.
Boogers.
Dr. Johnny Fever.
I mean, Windy City is cold.
Thank you for that, Felipe.
But who knows? Maybe along his journey, just save our phone number. All right. For whenever the day comes and we get that text and you tell us that you are now in, Boise.
Hey, Mark, how do you shovel a driveway? What from the front?
Find a kid with a shovel. They probably don't do that anymore. Kid with a snowblower.
Miller and Moulton. But happy first day of summer. So there. And it's not for us, really. It's for friends and family who live elsewhere. You can hit them with a text or a phone call today, or maybe something on Facebook, whatever the case may be. All right. So I can't believe that I was contemplating going to bed after 2 periods last night.
You and me both. I texted you.
I mean, and contemplating going to bed because the Lightning were up by so many goals that the game was over. Man, why we love sports. It's why you shouldn't bet on it. I mean, let's be
There you go.
brutally honest. For as much as you and I love the gambling aspect, and you were on the Lightning last night, and I was too chicken. I said, nope, don't have it in me. I'm sitting this one out. I have no idea what's going to happen. You had a hunch about the Lightning. You played it.
It took everything in me. But you can't sit here and do what we do for as long as we have and say the heart of a champion, and you got to go through Tampa and the best goaltender in the world and all these great players, and they're just going to fold and fall apart at home.
You know, it was the one thing that I lost sight of, and it had nothing to do with the Lightning. I lost sight of the Darcy Kemper factor. I mean, remember when the series started, I said the Lightning will win at least 1, possibly 2 games in this series because of the difference in goaltending. And it was a big reason why I picked the Lightning to win the series, was I don't have faith in either Avs goalie. I think we've seen the last of Darcy Kemper, which is something for a guy who won the first 2 games of a series, but he got pulled midway through the third or through the second last night, and I think he's done.
Yeah, I don't, because I think this is one of those series that the other goaltender could have the same problems. This is going to be going with the hot hand for Colorado, but they got to a goaltender last night, and Tampa made it a series. Miller and Moulton, we thank you for listening right here on the Florida Sports Network.
Golfers,
Are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost clubhead speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap Kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled, marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the Chicken Bomb, or the Italian. Love local, eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
And then you just start naming them.
Oh, yeah.
You could just start naming them. Also, how much older they all look.
Right. Well, I had a little thing happen yesterday. I went into Publix, David, and there was a manager kid helping bag groceries or whatever, but he had the tie on. He wasn't in my aisle, and I'm looking at him going, "You look like you're 14, motherfucker." That's all I could think in my head. It's, but it's one thing if the bagger at Publix looks young or whatever,
Right.
and they're 16,
But the
17.
manager.
But this kid had a shirt and tie on, and I'm like, how fucking old are you? It's all I wanted to say.
That's a sign of you being old.
I know.
First time you start thinking that. Of course, Julie's been saying that for 10 years.
But it's and I'm at Publix almost daily. And it's never, I looked at this one man, he was just baby faced and young, and I'm like, what the hell? TMZ got a story that Qatar reportedly banned sex. Reportedly banned single World Cup fans from sex. Could face 7 years behind bars.
Wait a minute. For having sex?
Having sex okay.
Wait a minute. What? The World Cup's not there yet. So you're not
They didn't
allowed
say-
to have
well,
sex
First off, you're not allowed to have sex
in
you're not married.
Qatar?
If you're not married.
In Qatar?
Yes.
Does this include the World Cup? Do they know what the players are going to be doing?
7 years.
It's 7 years in prison for having unmarried sex?
Yes.
Wow.
Apparently alcohol's against the law there too. Did anybody look into any of this before they gave them a World Cup?
It's FIFA. They didn't care. They're one of the 5 most corrupt organizations on earth. Johnny Mac, I don't think they have confidence in Kemper. I really don't. I think Bednar was just playing him because he's supposed to be their number one goalie and will go with him until I have to make the switch. And I mean, he gave up bad goals yesterday. And I don't think he's going to give him another chance. Yeah, RCB, boy, the Lightning are banged up, especially if Point can't come back, and he obviously is not close to 100%. Great throw. Wow. Yeah, no kidding, Adam. Of course, where do you dock it? But hello.
Also, I could just be saying this, but I'd rather be cold than hot.
You've never been cold.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. Go get cold and call me. No, seriously. Because
No, yeah,
I mean, been both.
but sweating like grease pit ball in the hot.
If I didn't have air conditioning, you have a point.
Right.
But you
And-
don't live without air conditioning now. And when
But-
it's cold for 2 months, you can't get warm.
Not even layering up, just blanket on blanket on blanket.
Here's the thing. It's more so than the temperature. It's the fact that, like in Fargo, I mean, I'm not kidding. It snowed by Halloween every year. And winter went through April. I mean, the first day of fishing season in Minnesota is like in the first week of May, and it was always like 42 degrees and the water temperature was 38. I mean, it was difficult to
That is the cold.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. Top of the morning to you. Miller and Moulton, happy first day of summer. Thanks for being with us. Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Magic numbers, Mark. We don't even have a first digit of an 8. If you're doing the week 0 thing, it's 67 days
Looky there.
to Nebraska and,
Northwestern.
yeah, in Dublin. 9 weeks from Saturday, 67 days. But if you're doing that doesn't really count. That's a one-off. That Thursday, September 1st, which starts 5 straight days of major college football, week 1, as we like to call it. That's 72 days away, baby. That's 10 weeks from Thursday, which means the NFL is only 11 weeks from Thursday, 79 days away until Bills at Rams. And for some of you, you count the whole training camp, preseason stuff, which we don't, because, Mark, once again, what's the only thing that counts before the Bills and the Rams?
Injuries.
Thank you. So,
By the way, some of those September 1 Thursday games,
Yeah.
'cause there's not a lot of great ones. There's one really good one, though. West Virginia and Pitt.
thank goodness. Thank goodness.
And then, of course, the Joe Buck game.
right.
Penn State, Purdue.
Right. For those that don't know, at the end of the day, Joe went to Fox when he decided, listen, I'm not going to resign. I'm going to follow Troy. And he still had a year left on his contract. And so Joe said, any chance you let me out a year early? And Fox said, well, yeah, you've been a good, loyal employee for 28 years. Sure. And then they stopped and they said, well, we don't want to set the precedent of just letting you walk when you're under contract. We'll work out a deal. We'll get back to you. And so the trade, Al Michaels got traded for what? The rights to a cartoon character?
Yeah, that hadn't been used in 20, 30 years or whatever the case was.
Right.
But
And officially, when Al went from ABC to NBC, Disney got a cartoon character back.
Right.
Right. And in this case, Fox got the rights to Penn State, Purdue. And I don't know if it was meant this way. I doubt it. But, I busted Joe's chops last month when I said, man, doesn't it hurt to be traded for a Purdue game? Because if you don't know, Joe went to IU.
And they play September 2nd on the Friday against Illinois, along with TCU and Colorado.
Boy, that's got Big Ten Network written all over it, doesn't it? IU, Illinois.
No, actually, it might get ESPN on that Friday night. Well, I'm looking at what the games are, David. There's nothing else of substance. That's the 8:00 game. That might be Fox. Unless they put Sparty and Western Michigan on at 7.
Who knows that first 5-day? I'm in San Diego. All right, I'm doing Arizona, San Diego State Saturday.
Yeah, once you get to the 3rd, there's a lot of good football.
Right. Well, sure, because you got your big boys. I mean, those that open up. If I was running a program, by the way, I would not week 1 open up with a marquee game. I'd do it week 2. I'd want to get my guys out there and just, get a W on the board and bring somebody in that we can beat and, let everybody play and what have you. And I would do it week 2. And then week 3, either it's conference season or, maybe I can throw a softie in there right before conference season starts. So I'd have my big, showdown game week 2 instead of week 1.
And Oregon and Georgia and Notre Dame and Ohio State do not have that luxury.
How about that? Notre Dame, Ohio State. Well done, gentlemen. Don't you have to? Come on.
Right?
Come on now. Well done. Good job. All right. Now, if both teams can just wear the proper uniforms and not get any crazy idea, all right, could you just, you know what to do. All right, gentlemen? You know what uniforms we're talking about here. Okay?
Also, Notre Dame needs to stop wearing Under Armour.
Well, they can't do that. You sign one of those long-term deals, you're stuck. So
that was a fold.
And besides, actually, it shouldn't matter. Honestly,
it really doesn't matter.
There are 5-6 schools in which it shouldn't matter if they sign with Nike, Reebok, Under Armour, Miller, and Moulton. Quite frankly, the uniforms should look the same.
Pretty easy to know what Notre Dame looks like.
Penn State, Alabama's uniforms. Honestly, the clothing manufacturer shouldn't matter at all.
It's a good point, but if Notre Dame had like Jordan, for example,
it doesn't matter.
It shouldn't matter with their uniforms.
Is
it going to change their helmets so they still wear the Golden Domers?
Right.
It doesn't matter.
I mean, the gold bottoms, the navy tops, and the gold helmets. I mean, does it matter, the logo?
Once a year, you want to throw the greens on?
Yeah.
Knock yourself out.
Right. Come on now. And I mean, Ohio State, we all know what the uniform should be. And the helmet, especially, just whatever you do. I mean, wear the damn thing to bed, for goodness sakes. I'd sleep with the damn thing if I was good enough to play football for Ohio State. I really would.
It's at Ohio State, right?
I don't know. Is that a home and homer, or are they playing at a neutral site?
I don't know. What I've got up does not have sites, so I do not know if that's a neutral site or not.
That'll probably be a red jersey versus white and gold.
Well, there should be no thought that goes into
exactly.
I mean, there's 5 or 6 schools, honestly, that just should not give any thought. They should just show up and have somebody walk up to them and go, "Oh, you're wearing the wrong colors," and have them look at them and go, "Yeah, right. Fine us. Are you kidding? This is who we are."
It's in Columbus.
Oh, that's awesome. I mean, well done for both. Honestly, give it up to the both of them. Hell of a first game for the new Notre Dame coach.
Well, and I mean, look at the Buckeyes this year. Just a quick tangent, because they got Wisconsin on their schedule. They have Iowa on their schedule.
And obviously Michigan, Penn State.
And Sparty had a good year last year, and they go to Sparty, and they Notre Dame. I mean, that's a legit.
Sure.
And even Toledo, which for MAC schools, it's one of the better schools year in, year out.
When do you think Ohio State will schedule Cincinnati again? Remember Tressel scheduled them the year they won the national title? They had to survive a game at Riverfront Stadium. Cincinnati had the ball in the red zone and threw it 3 times into the end zone to win the game. And Ohio State got out with the W, obviously. And I don't think they've played them since, or at least certainly not scheduled them.
Not anytime soon.
I mean, come on. They got one of theirs who's head coach of Cincinnati, too. I mean, I just say you say to Luke, you go, "Listen, we'll play you, but you got to come to us." And just so you know, got to come to us. That's just a thought.
Hey, we got the backyard brawl happening again, David.
I know.
Anything can happen.
Yeah. Yes.
These are two guys that have absolutely nothing to do with Pitt or West Virginia. Could not care less about either university, but they should play football against each other every damn year.
I mean, Texas and Texas A&M had to play a baseball game against one another on Sunday. I mean, that's what college sports needs to be about. And I'm going to get serious for 20 seconds. I don't think all of the transferring and the NIL stuff is helping the connection that is college football to the fan base. And I think it's going to be more important than ever, Mark, going forward, that college sports schools recognize how important rivalries are to their existence, and they need to play as many rivalry games as possible. You better give the fans as much of what they crave for everything that you're asking the fans to finance.
Miller and Moulton, we will get into that. There have been some things said regarding college football by some people that are pretty high up in college football that we'll talk about today. We pulled off something yesterday that had never been done in the history of Miller and Moulton, and we are done with that. But if you were to listen to yesterday's show, we did not mention football.
At all. Not once. Not
Oh my
the
gosh,
name.
you're right. I was writing the show, like the
Not
description.
once. We didn't talk football.
No football.
Not in the starting five. Nothing.
Nope, not in the bonus hour. Nothing. 4 hours, no football. Yeah, that's never going to happen again.
Ever. We promise.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Golfers, are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost club head speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap Kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Close. That's a whole different game. That goal isn't called back.
Yeah. No, it's not KW worthy of being put on the commissioner's exempt list. And I don't think we'd get suspended upon further review, but we might get fined. They take a look at something a day later and they fine us. I think this is one of those deals. Felipe would send in the tape. So I hate to do this to them, but look at what they did and didn't do.
Once again, I'm going to say this nicely, but if you diehards in the Twitch chat room don't notice it for an entire show, I ain't taking any crap from you the next day because we didn't talk football.
Right.
It's on you.
By the way, we obviously did a pretty good job yesterday. You guys were entertained.
Yeah.
You were fine.
Uh-huh. Because I noticed he didn't mention football in the starting five. I was about to do football at 8 something, and I'm like, nope. We're going to do a whole show without doing football.
Yeah. Just to
and
prove
unlike
that
a
we
no-hitter, David and I talked about it.
Yeah, we don't believe in that crap. Besides, I think as a broadcaster, you have an obligation to the viewer or listener. I don't think the Padres are home either. I think I looked it up. Kind of
while you're out there?
Kind of bummed.
When are you going? On Friday after the show?
Probably. And leaving Saturday after the game. I'm going to take a red eye.
Oh, are you?
Through Atlanta. Yeah, I'm getting out. No reason to stay.
Plenty of reasons to stay.
Well, I understand, but
thank you, DC. I agree with that.
I'm toying with the idea of going out Thursday and having Friday be my day to do things. You know, do the show, go back to sleep.
Right.
Get back up and enjoy the day.
Well, if you leave Friday, what time? If you leave at noon, you'd get out there by 2, 3 o'clock, wouldn't you?
No, it's no. The earliest I can get there, I think it's maybe 6:30. Because the problem is there's no direct flight to San Diego.
No.
So, you're going through Dallas or something like that.
No, I got down to Portland in 5 minus 3.
But the earliest I get out of here is like 12:30.
That's why I thought maybe you'd get out there by 3:30 their time.
Yeah, I'll have to look it up. I've got it written down somewhere.
Have you ever seen a capybara?
I have no idea. What are you talking about?
You know what a capybara is?
No, I don't.
No, I don't.
It's the largest rodent on Earth.
Never seen one. No.
A capybara?
A capybara.
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 And it's a rodent.
It's a rodent the size of a dog, basically.
Why don't they just call it a dog? Oh, I know, Jake. Oh, I know. I got to admit, though, Jake, like all these stories about delays and cancellations, they seemingly are all new.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
"22 minutes before the hour. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Mark, we need a poll question, top of the hour. And remember, we had like 5 really good ones yesterday after we put up the poll question that we put up, which was, it was all right. So maybe we can remember one of those 5 that we really liked that we didn't go with. Something
that would be
ponder.
great.
Right. We'll talk a little Rays in an hour. Kevin Weiss does a Rays podcast. They're out of the playoffs. The playoffs started today, and they've got injuries now on top of it.
Up.
Yes, they are. John Forslund going to join us 8 o'clock. Nice to talk to the best play-by-play guy in the NHL again. And Scott Jackson will check in on the dysfunction that is the Washington Commanders. I'll tell you, they are a gift. They really are. Not on the field, but off the field. They are a gift. So look forward to that in a couple hours.
A gift, huh?
Oh, yeah. Sports talk show host, you need things to talk about, especially in D.C. All right? Wizards are bad. Nats are bad and are going to be for a while. And, you know, the Caps, yeah, they're good and what have you, but they haven't won a playoff series in 4 years, and they're getting old. So
I just wonder at what point of Snyder's buffoonery, yeah, for the host, it's great. For the listeners, it's got to be painful.
No. It's awful. Absolutely awful. And that's the team they really want to win.
It's the only one they care about.
Right. I mean, it was nice for Ovechkin and the Caps to keep him occupied here for the last 15 years. And the Nats had a really good decade. I mean, they did. The 2010s, the Nats were very good and interesting and competitive and spent money and made the playoffs 5-6 times and ended the decade by winning a World Series. I mean, they did their job as a franchise. Thank you very much.
Caps have done their job.
But now, ooh, boy, yeah. Mm-hmm. It's bad, and it looks like it could be bad for everybody for a while. And not only that, you got both the baseball teams getting sold, and, you know, they're already talking about a new stadium, and the football team's talking about a new stadium. It's just so, yeah, I'm going to check in on Scott Jackson's mental health and try to cheer him up and get about 8 to 10 quality minutes out of him coming up in a couple hours. Right now, it is time for
The Starting Five. 5 stories you need to know. It's the Starting Five on Miller and Moulton. Here's number 1.
What the heck happened last night? I'll tell you, the Tampa Bay Lightning showed up. 2 in the first, 4 in the second. Stamkos a goal and assist. Kucherov 2 assists before he got hurt with 6 minutes to go. Hedman with 2 assists. They knocked out Darcy Kemper, the Avs goalie, midway through the second after scoring 5 on them. How about them Lightning? Gave up a couple power play goals, but otherwise 6-2 Tampa Bay. Back in the series. It's now 2-1. Game 4 tomorrow night in Tampa.
Just like that.
Bada bing, bada boom. Tell you what, though. Lightning had Braden Point A didn't play. All right, so obviously he's re-aggravated that hip injury that kept him out of 2 entire playoff series. And they had 3 guys limp off and go into the dressing room at various points in the game last night.
Well, the Kucherov one, that's the one that obviously that.
And you know these guys are going to dress and play in game 4 and the rest of the series. But, you know, they need them to be 90 to 100%. And there were some very awkward spills, hits. A couple of them by the Avs were a little cheap, and so the Lightning.
Thought the hit on Kucherov was bordering on cheap.
Yeah, and there also Corey Perry got tripped going into the boards, and that was and no penalty called, and that was a dangerous slash. I don't know about dirty, but it was definitely dangerous. And it was intentional also. You don't put your stick there. He did that intentionally. So the series got a little nasty last night for the first time. First time. Even Ray Ferraro commented, rinkside there, in which he said, it's starting to sound like a playoff series.
And it started early.
Yeah. Yep. So 6-2 Lightning. Avs lead 2-1. If you're Bednar, your buddy there, the Avs coach, who you going with in nets? Kemper's the guy that they acquired last offseason when they lost Grubauer to the Kraken in the expansion draft. And so he's supposed to be the number 1. He won the first 2 games, although he wasn't tested much. And really, it's been a split goaltending rotation because of injury and performance throughout the playoffs. So they brought the lefty French guy in.
Francouz or whatever.
Yeah.
I think the team likes playing in front of him better.
There are a few hockey guys who have gone on the record thinking they think he's the better goalie anyway. Here's the deal, though. You try to put off making the goalie switch for as long as you can, because usually once you make the switch, you can't go back.
I disagree with that philosophy.
Okay.
You can go back.
Oh, I'm with you. But listen, I'm not a Kemper guy, and he gave up some unbelievably soft goals last night. So I'd make the switch for what it's worth. Game 4 tomorrow night, and now there will be a Game 5 Friday night in Denver. NFL news, Daniel Snyder will not testify before the Oversight Committee. And you may say, well, that's not news. He said that over a week ago. Yeah, but the Oversight Committee then said, hey, listen, we really want you to testify. We need you to testify. There are some important things that we want to talk to you about. And Daniel Snyder said, well, I really I respect that. No way. No way. I'm out of the country and I'm not coming back. Sorry. You're only Congress. You're not important. Don't give a crap about you guys. So Goodell's going to testify.
Is he still doing Zoom or is he going to show now?
No. I think he's just doing, he'll be in his office. He'll be in
And Snyder refused to do the Zoom because he's
out of the country.
Right.
And I mean, he makes it sound as if like the internet doesn't work elsewhere. Like you can't do Zoom from wherever you are. I don't know if he was paying attention during this pandemic, but the world kept existing on Zoom. But okay. All right. Basically, Daniel Snyder has given Congress the Eli Manning double bird.
Yes, he is.
That's what I think of you guys, just so you know. And by the way, this is why we pay Raj $60 million a year, $2 million a team.
Don't take the hit, Raj.
There you go. And you just make sure you say good things about me, buddy, okay? Just make sure you have my back. $2 million of that 64 comes from me. Got it? Got it? And remember, if I get honked off, then Jarrah and a couple of others get honked off because I'm Jarrah's boy. I don't know why he likes me, but he does. So there.
Maybe he's just afraid if my skeletons come out, some more of his might.
Right, because, man, do I have dirt on him. But that's another story. No need to release that. As long as, Raj, you just keep saying the right things. You got it? I think he testifies tomorrow. The Hammer. That's what we nicknamed Roger Goodell back in our first act when he took the job. Because remember, he was like Eddie Murphy. There's a new sheriff in town, and his name is Reggie Hammonds. That was Raj when the first couple of years he took over.
Oh, man, he was tough. He was the Hammer.
NBA draft is Thursday. Magic at the number 1 overall pick. They say they're undecided, Mark. Anybody believe that 48 hours out from a draft? Apparently, they're going with the guard from Auburn. And a couple of bigs are going next. Kid from Duke, kid from Gonzaga, 2, 3 in whatever order. Then that puts Sacramento at 4 basically on the clock, and they may trade the pick. So there you have it. Thursday, NBA draft. Abraham Answer, 31-year-old, dual citizenship between the United States and Mexico, 21st ranked golfer in the world. He left the PGA Tour yesterday. He's going to LIV. And he's not going to be the only one this week. And, Mark, what's out there this morning but not official?
Brooks Koepka took off the PGA Tour from his Twitter profile.
Right.
It said PGA Tour Nike Golf. Those lines are all removed from his Twitter bio.
Right. There you go. I mean, his brother played in the first LIV event in London. Koepka 4 years ago, while he was winning 4 majors, said, listen, I really don't care about these regular tour events. I mean,
just use them to prepare for the majors.
Yeah. I mean, I play the 15 events because the PGA Tour makes me. And I'm just here to win majors. And why else do we play? Once again, it goes back to what are the majors going to do? What are the majors going to do? You know, there's lots of whispers out there You got a lot of guys. Koepka played on the European Tour before he played on the PGA Tour. You've got these old Euros who want to go back to the European Tour. You've got Patrick Reed has played many an event on the European Tour. I mean, this DP World Tour, they've got a big decision in front of them here, because they could break from the PGA Tour if they wanted to. And quite frankly, Mark, if we were running their tour, what should they do?
They should abandon what the PGA Tour is doing. Let these players play on their tour and the Live Tour.
Yes. Have their cake and eat it too. I mean,
it's not really affecting any of their tournaments, David.
They'll have better fields for their events.
Yes.
And the irony is, why is the European Tour, which is now called the DP World Tour, as weak as it is? Because of the PGA Tour's insistence that these
you
guys
play 15 events.
Right.
You can't play both tours. You can play
It's
both tours.
hard, though.
It is physically hard on you.
Listen,
to travel. And get it. We get it. These guys got lots of money. They can fly privately. But in order to do it, you've got to play in about 27, 28 events. You got to play 13 over there. You got to play 15 over here. You got to fit the majors in. It's a difficult schedule.
This goes all the way back to Seve 40 years ago, remember? And then the wave of Langer and Faldo and Woosnam and what have you. They hated it. They grew up on the European Tour. They hated having to play the mandatory number of events in the States. But that's
why they even on the DP World Tour have the point. They have the point system to qualify for the Ryder Cup over there, and that.
Baseball, Yankees doubled up the Rays 4-2. Cole took a no-hitter into the 8th. Yanks scored 2 in the 9th to win it. Rays lose Margot to a right knee injury and Kiermaier to a left hip injury. The Margot injury looks significant, and Kiermaier is going on the IL. Mets took 3 or 4 from the Marlins, 6-0 the final. I think Mattingly's in trouble. He's in the final year of a contract. It would not shock me if he gets gassed around the All-Star break, unless something happens here in the next few weeks. Atlanta scored in the 9th to beat San Francisco 2-1. They're 5.5 back of the Mets. Red Sox are a playoff team right now, Mark, and the Rays are not. Boston 5-2 over Detroit. They're the 6th seed. Milwaukee wins the first place showdown with the Cardinals 2-0. Burns, 7 scoreless innings, gave up just 2 hits for the Brew Crew. White Sox beat Toronto 8-7. That means the Yankees lead in the East is 12. San Diego 4-1 over Arizona. Padres tied with the Dodgers for first. Kansas City 6-2 over the Angels. That means the Astros lead in the West is 10. And Pittsburgh 12-1 over the Cubs. College baseball, Auburn eliminates Stanford. Ole Miss beats Arkansas 13-5. We got 2 elimination games today. A&M Notre Dame, Arkansas Auburn. We'll be down to 4 after today. Oklahoma and Ole Miss are the 2 undefeateds, Mark. Ole Miss was the very last at-large team awarded by the NCAA Baseball Selection Committee. And here they are undefeated in Omaha.
Right, and they got, I don't know about a break, but they got to play Southern Miss in their super regional, which...
Well, they had to get there first.
They had to get there, but then they got a little bit of a break of playing Southern Miss and essentially getting a somewhat neutral site series instead of a road series.
And Peter DeBoer is going to go from Las Vegas to Dallas, apparently. This will be his 5th head coaching job, Mark, in the last 15 years. Actually, 13 years. Panthers, Devils, Sharks, Golden Knights, and now Stars. So what? It's 5 for Tortorella and 5 now for DeBoer. Right.
How many times did they double dip?
I mean, nobody recycles like the NHL.
No.
And I'm talking about your community that likes to recycle. They don't recycle like the NHL. And that was
the Starting 5 every weekday morning at this time on Miller and Moulton.
I mean, these coaches a couple of times have gotten fired with years left on their contract, gotten another job. So they've you've got to think DeBoer's double dipped at least 2 or 3 times over this stint.
Listen, we're all jealous. Let's be honest. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the Chicken Bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
Golfers, are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost club head speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap Kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the Chicken Bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
Golfers, are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost club head speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap Kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119. You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
In it, and he plays Saul's brother, and has a condition where electricity, a fake condition, but he's in his house. He plays a fucking nut job lawyer who's scared of electricity. Matthew McKeon's just such a good. It's amazing what a great character. He and Ned Beatty and those guys just kept doing great roles. But God, he's funny. But finally, like the 9th episode, I'm like, I've been waiting for 4 episodes for something to give me. Where does this guy make his turn? It's
right.
Like you put me through a whole season here to make the turn.
Bigham, it would take so much to get Juan Soto in a trade. He has 2.5 years until free agency. So think about what you'd have to give up. I do think it's affecting him, though. He's not having a good year. He also doesn't have much around him in the lineup to protect him. If A&M beats Notre Dame, the Final Four at the College World Series will be 3 SEC teams in Oklahoma. up at Spitz, they were also unbeaten on the road before last night. So, yeah. Well, I mean, God, Spitz, I thought 3 of the 5 goals can happen, be honest with you. I mean, you had the one that he just whiffed on, the first goal. The final goal that got him removed was awful. He let 2 other goals kind of go through him underneath the glove and the both armpits, basically. Also, the Nats have announced they're not going to trade him. So it would be an obscene offer. I actually think you have a better chance of getting Trout away from the Angels than you do Soto away from the Nats.
All right. We don't have a poll question. Really want to do something with this no sex and cutter thing. I was going to hit you right over the head with it at 7 or 7:15, unless you got something here.
We had some really good questions yesterday that we didn't go with, that we thought of after the fact.
Diez segundos.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you. How the heck are you? Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Thanks so much for being with us. We'll talk a little baseball in 35 minutes. The Rays, particularly, they are scuffling, and now they're injured. And they've been a perennial playoff team here. And right now, if the playoffs started today, they're out. And is this fixable? Or, hey, with their payroll, they only got the bodies they got, and they're in trouble. So we'll talk a little Rays in about 40 minutes' time. John Forslund, 1 hour from now. Be nice to talk a little hockey with the best play-by-play guy going in the sport. And then we'll head to our nation's capital a little over an hour and a half because Daniel Snyder has given the double bird to Congress. And plus, you got the whole Jack Del Rio thing, being fined $100,000 for
By Rivera.
by the head coach.
Right. I mean, that needs to be pointed out.
The head coach finding his defense coordinator $100,000 because he didn't like what he had to say at the podium. I mean, I don't want to get into what it is that he said, but I mean, that's unusual, right? You find one of your own coaches for speaking his mind.
Speaking and tweeting.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm just
right. And then don't get me wrong. I don't agree with a lot of what he had to say. And obviously Rivera didn't either, but I mean, it's America, right? I mean, I know that
he works for the Commanders, though.
Well, I understand, but he got fined by the coach.
Right.
I mean, he didn't get fined by Snyder. He got fined by the coach.
Well, what's Snyder going to fine anybody for?
Well, that's true. It'd be a little hypocritical if Daniel
I mean,
Snyder.
come
on. That's true. If Daniel Snyder is fining you for bad behavior.
I mean, do you even have to pay the fine? You just look at him and go, excuse
Where
me.
you show up and you go, is this a joke? This is funny. I know funny, and this is funny.
Lightning with a monster win last night.
Yeah.
Looks like we may have ourselves a series all of a sudden.
Well, at least for 48 hours.
Damn right, and needed it.
Yeah. I definitely did. 4 goals in the second period changed everything.
But every once in a while, David, I see a story which makes me smile and you cringe.
Okay.
And this story is close to those lines.
I mean, usually that story's in the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Right, but sometimes these stories have a sports appeal to them, and they can leap from the good, the bad, and the ugly right to the front page, if you know what I mean.
They can move up 2.5 hours in the show.
And from this reputable news source, TMZ.com.
Well, listen, don't get me wrong. I mean, they don't get a lot wrong. I mean, they are, in that sense, they are reputable. Now, their subject matter is what it is, but they're not wrong.
Their headline writers are fantastic as well, because this report from the Qatar World Cup says single fans banned from having sex could face 7 years behind bars.
Hold on a second. Qatar is where the World Cup's going to be.
Correct.
And if you're single, you can't have sex?
Premarital sex is illegal in the country.
Wait a minute. I know FIFA's one of the most corrupt organizations on the planet, but how did they allow the World Cup to go to a part of the country where you're not allowed to have premarital sex? Don't they know what soccer fans are like?
Alcohol is also illegal there.
Oh, for goodness sakes. Whose idea was this? I don't care how much money they have.
So anyone, basically the punishment is up to 7 years behind bars for premarital sex.
Although, Mark, I will say oftentimes the drinking does lead to premarital sex.
Exactly.
So, I mean, they do have a couple of deterrents here. But, I mean, these are soccer fans. First off, forget the fans, just the players alone. I mean, what are they going to do? Start it all of a sudden, half of the Colombian team's going to be in jail midway through the World Cup?
Well, that's what I want to find out. Who's watching the teams?
I mean, come on. Like, Harry Kane is not going to enjoy himself in Qatar?
If the coaches tell them not, I mean, come on, David.
Okay.
Women weaken legs.
Thank you, Burgess Meredith. But, okay. Not only that, it's going to be summer there. You're going to have a bunch of scantily clad young
You're
people.
not going to have scantily clad anyone there. They can't scantily clad.
Once they get into the stadium, they can. Listen, I think Qatar's in for a rude awakening here.
I think the fans are in for a rude awakening.
You invited the World Cup to your country. All right. They're called hooligans for a reason.
I think this gives the U.S. a much better chance in group just because the British fans going to be so ticked off they can't drink.
I
mean, they may not be good looking enough to get laid, but I mean, they're not going to be able to drink either, David.
Where are you going to do your pregame drinking? Honestly, I mean, you've got to do it back at the hotel, right?
I want to know where you're going to get the booze.
Where are you going to get the booze? Yeah, really. We have to invent. I got to call Tom Rinaldi. All right. He's going to do all these feature stories on the World Cup. All right. He's finishing up a podcast series right now. We're going to interview him later in the summer.
Don't drink, don't smoke. What do you do, David?
You might have to sneak a couple shooters in the luggage.
Hold on a second. They're threatening you with 7 years in jail.
For premarital sex. I don't know what drinking gets you.
And then you want to throw in how many years you're going to get for booze?
Put some shooters in the toiletry bag.
And how long do you think that's going to last you?
Just buy a lot.
I mean, don't you think they've got
I mean, when I send a whole suitcase full of toiletry bags, they're going to think something's up, Felipe. How many bottles of scope can one man have? And why does it all smell like bourbon?
All right. TB Gator Boy recommends that our poll question should be what's worse, no booze or no sex?
That's a good one.
All right. That is a good one. We'll take that under advisement. KW in our Twitch chat room is saying, Mark, that the big hotels in Qatar allow alcohol sales. So let me tell you, those hotel bars are going to be
They can charge whatever they want.
Yeah.
the second most popular place in the country outside of where the matches are being held. That's what I'm guessing. I'm guessing those hooligans are just going to stay at the hotel to the last possible minute, and then they're going to stagger to wherever it is they are going and they're going to show up. And boy, are they going to be at fever pitch. The problem is at halftime, they could fall asleep.
7 years for premarital sex. There'd be some people that'd be in jail for the rest of their lives.
Well, just hold on.
Think about that in Florida. They don't even get married around here.
I'm well aware of that. Yes.
Yeah, you're talking some alternate universe stuff right there.
Yeah, but it's their universe. I mean,
right? It's a hell of a point. It may be an alternate universe for us, but it's their universe.
I mean, you show up 1 a.m. at their little night court. It's a little different than ours. Man. I mean, this is, once again, not a good idea. Not a good idea. Wow. How they're going to have to look the other way. I mean, FIFA is going to have to. Listen, Qatar bought FIFA off. FIFA, in turn, is going to have to turn around and buy Qatar off here.
A couple people are saying the policy is alcohol is allowed at the stadiums in specific places, but you're not allowed to take it to your seats.
Rick in Lehigh, who says he used to live in Bahrain. It's duty free at the airport, and you can buy booze there. So I'm trusting that. I mean, first off, Qatar is going to see a chance to make some money here. I mean, they may deny it of all their residents, but they're not throwing the World Cup for their residents. I mean, they're throwing it for
Yeah, and I mean they've killed so many people from around the world building the buildings.
Yeah,
they might as well let people who are going to attend the games have a good time.
Right. I mean, don't get me wrong. They'll kill a few thousand of their own residents, but, they're trying not to do it of, people who are actually.
And they shipped in tens of thousands that they tried to kill building the buildings as well.
So, we're telling the truth, by the way. Feel free to look up the stories. They're absolutely horrendous.
Real Sports did a whole
horrendous
feature on the building of these facilities and the human atrocities that were done in Qatar. We're being flippant about it, but there's nothing that we're saying that's not 100% true.
100%. So, come on. There's no way. I mean, they're supposed to. It's not a rule, but I mean.
Yeah, but 2026 is going to be a party.
I mean,
they're going to be ready for the U.S. after this thing.
Well, there's no doubt about it. I mean, first off, the World Cup's kind of like the Olympics. I mean, the Olympics amongst the athletes is apparently one big party.
Right.
I mean, it's like the first few days you show up on campus before classes start. I mean, it's, we need to all get to know one another, if you know what I mean. So they're going to have to look the other way here. They just are.
We shall see. I think it's just one of the fun sidebars of what this is going to be.
I do think it does make for a good poll question. All right, you're faced with 7 years in prison. Need to give up one of the two, and Qatar, you're there for the World Cup to root for your host nation. What's it going to be? What's it going to be?
Miller and Moulton, you want to text the show, text the keyword FSN Radio to 21,000, FSN Radio to 21,000. Once you've done that, you can text as much or as little as you would like. You can watch the show. If you're listening via radio, you can catch us on twitch.tv/Miller and Moulton. Twitch.tv/Miller and Moulton. You'll get through a lot of the commercial breaks and get to have live interaction with both of us in the Twitch chat room that is always very lively during the show.
And since we're talking, by the way, do you go with Qatar or do you go with Qatar?
Depends on the day.
Right.
Qatar lately, that's what I've been hearing more of.
All right. Not like Cutter Crawford, the Red Sox pitcher. You're just, all right, Cutter. All right, fair enough. Well, along those lines, Brooks Koepka is reportedly leaving the PGA Tour for the LIV Series. I mean, we'll just go from Qatar to Saudi Arabia. That's all. I'm just keeping, everything relevant.
Keep everything close, David.
Right. Just keeping everything, under the same umbrella, so to speak. So we'll see if that happens officially later today, but he's removed. You go to his Twitter bio there, and it doesn't mention anything about him being on the PGA Tour, and yesterday it did. So
Another one bites the dust, David.
there you go. Top 20 player in the world. Abraham Answer joined. He's 21st in the world. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network.
Golfers, are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost clubhead speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap Kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the Chicken Bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Is that coffee, or is that like a Jolt caffeine thing?
Kind of like a Jolt caffeine thing. It's like a sparkling orange.
What flavor are you going with there? The orange?
Orange.
They're delicious.
What is that
Good.
brand there?
Celsius.
And they punch you in the face.
I drink them and take a nap.
Well, punching in the face would probably make you go nap. So they
What do you mean they punch you in the face?
I think they got a lot of caffeine. I could drink them and go take a nap.
push you in the snow. I don't know. They wake you up.
Gator boy here. My wife would be brought up on multiple charges. It takes her a lot of alcohol to have sex with me. There you go.
So what's the crime for alcohol again?
Excuse me. It's illegal. Don't know how long the prison term is. But apparently premarital sex is 7 years. But you're there for the World Cup. So what are you going to do without?
By the way, this NCAA football game that's going to come out, the video game,
Next
is
year.
going to be incredible.
Next year, though.
Yeah, next year.
Right.
It's going to be so
Trevor Ullman is
good.
the new lead for CBS. Trey Wingo. I'm happy to hear Trevor Ullman will be the new lead golf analyst for CBS.
What? What happened to foul, though?
Oh, she loses the blue lipstick pretty quickly.
Oh my God, Sir Faldo announces his retirement after the Wyndham in August.
Oh my God. I got a follow-up, David.
Okay.
The gas station that was selling gas for 69 cents.
Yeah,
The manager got fired.
Yeah, I know, $16,000 it cost.
I'd fire him for that.
Well, we'll do that here. A little breaking news.
Yeah.
No, he's not. He's retiring. He's going to Montana.
10 seconds.
Thanks for listening. And now, more of Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Manager.
21 minutes after the hour. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. We actually have a developing story. And it doesn't involve the LIV series, but it does involve golf. Sir Nick is retiring. The Wyndham Championships take place in August. That's apparently where he made his CBS debut. And so he says, I'm going to do the whole full circle thing. So he's retiring. He and his wife, they're just going to go to Montana. He said, I'm going to fish, going to hang out. He's 65. And
good for him.
Yeah, his quote is that, we oftentimes we think we have more time than we do. And so he says he's been thinking about it for about a year.
I get that people love work, and I know you'd work forever no matter how much money you made. I wouldn't. I applaud any of these guys who have that type of money, and it's easy to make that much more and yet still say, no, I've got enough. I'm going to enjoy this as best I can.
And he's retiring from both Golf Channel, where he does Thursday, Friday work, and CBS, where he does weekend work. So a handful more tournaments for Sir Nick, and then he's done. He and Azinger got started together, 3-man booth with ABC, but he's had about I think an 18-year run here with CBS.
Now, if he announces he's the new color commentator for the LIV series, that would be outstanding.
Well, first they have to have their tournaments broadcast in the U.S. on a
you could always,
channel.
Many people have moved from one network to Twitch or YouTube, David.
Right.
They're fledgling sports talk show hosts, but, other than that, it happens occasionally.
So Trevor Immelman, by the way, CBS promoting from within, and they're going Trevor Immelman. So they don't go Nobilo, they don't go Baker Finch, two guys who have been with them longer. They go Trevor Immelman, and clearly this would have been Mickelson's. Let's be honest. This would have been Phil's.
100%.
And he just turned 52. So he could have had a good long run here. Good long run. And I thought it was the one thing that he had to consider during his 4 months of exile, whether it was self-imposed or otherwise, that, hey, if I kind of limit the damage to this, can I still get that broadcasting gig with either CBS or NBC?
I like that we call this an exile.
Right.
I mean, it's not like he was behind bars. It's
No.
like he wasn't, like he was, kept in a small square room for 4 months.
No, it's not Brittany Griner. No.
Thank you.
Right. I said, self-imposed or otherwise.
I know you did,
Mm-hmm.
but that's the word that's being used throughout the media to describe Phil's 4-month vacation. Because for anybody else, when they don't work and do what they want for 4 months, it's called a vacation, David. Sabbatical.
Right.
Maybe you write a book. It certainly isn't an exile.
Self-imposed or otherwise. So that's fairly big news in the golf
line
world.
and Slapshot with his deportation to Canada and that country's refusal to accept him. I mean, come on now. Let's just slow down a little bit. Phil.
Hey, maybe one of these days they'll actually tell us the truth as to whether it was self-imposed or otherwise.
Do you think so? Do you think you'll actually get any truth out of Phil over those 4 months ever?
Well, here's the one interesting part that I found about the presser that he did at the U.S. Open. He was asked when was the last time he talked with PGA Tour Commissioner Jay Monahan. Now, I understand people can talk to people, and in theory, Monahan could have communicated it with Phil's agent or manager, whoever the person is. But Phil said the last time he talked to Jay Monahan was October. I would like to think if he was being suspended that there would have been a phone call in some way, shape, or form. A discussion which then led to the suspension, or pick up the phone and call him and go, hey, just so you know, I'm suspending you.
Sounds like Monahan just types out a memo when he suspends somebody, David.
Apparently. So last time he talked to him was October. Thought that was interesting. I mean, the Masters did say in April that he was cleared to play. I mean, they did say if Phil wanted to play, we would have welcomed him with open arms. They did not intimate that he was ineligible to play. And the PGA Championship said the same thing. I mean, the head of the PGA said he had many long conversations with Phil.
Right. Neither of those are the PGA Tour.
Correct.
Those suspensions do not apply, or a PGA suspension does not apply to those two tournaments because they are not a part of the PGA Tour. But your point is well made nonetheless. Miller and Moulton, thanks so much for listening here.
There was one thing about last night's hockey game that I want to get to.
Okay.
But we've got John Forslund coming up at the top of the hour. I wanted to get this out there because I think we're going to mention it with Forslund. So early in the game yesterday, Colorado scores. They take a 1-0 lead. And the Lightning stall as long as humanly possible. They basically didn't go out to take the faceoff. I mean, you can't drop the puck if there's not enough guys there to drop the puck to. And eventually the Lightning rolled the dice and said, we think that that's offsides. We're going to challenge this. After the game, John Cooper said, why is that on us? And Mark, I agree. And I was thinking it at the time. I mean, you and I are of the belief that college football, for as messed up as big-time college sports is, but that the college football replay system is the best.
But even to take it one step further, David, the NFL system, which we would make changes to, does what? Reviews every scoring play.
Well, so does the NHL, but they only review it in and around the crease as to whether or not the puck crossed the goal line, hit the back of the net, etc. With the the NFL only reviews goal line end zone. The NFL doesn't go back and review was there holding at the line of scrimmage.
No, you're right.
All right. And Cooper,
but they would review if someone stepped out short of the goal line. I guess if it was called a touchdown, someone stepped out on the 2.
Yes. Oh, that they would.
And that to me is like this.
Okay. And I think it's a little further back, but fine. It's an apples to oranges analogy. It works. But I'm with Cooper. I mean, I'm sorry. This is the Stanley Cup Finals. I get if it's a Tuesday in November. I do. Things are going fast, this, that, and the other thing, whatever. But to me, Toronto, which is where everything's based out of in the NHL, I mean, Toronto's got to buzz down there. They're about ready to drop the puck, and somebody from Toronto's got to buzz in and go, yeah, hold on. We got to look at this. This is close. This may be offsides. Instead, it was on Cooper and his number one assistant there, and he's the one who made the call. You could see him talking Cooper into it, going, it's offsides. We got to challenge this. And you saw there were two Lightning right by the blue line, and that puck was 2 inches offsides, and they both raised their arms immediately as if to say, hey, this is offsides. And obviously the linesman there said, no, it's not. Colorado puts it in the net. And in hockey also, if you challenge and lose, you're shorthanded. And you and I have debated that as to whether or not you should at least get one of those before they make you shorthanded. So think about how close that was. Tampa Bay was nearly down 1-0.
With a delay of game penalty, and then they're down a man, and the Colorado power play has been fantastic. Scored 2 goals last night.
Well, and they took one off the board. Right. So, and Cooper just said, I just don't think that should be on us.
I'd have no problem with them taking that one step further. It shouldn't take that long. It didn't even take that long with everything that happened last night, and that was a pretty lengthy review.
The other thing that hurt Cooper and the Lightning, ESPN took a really long time to show a replay of it. I know as a fan, I was yelling at the TV going, hey, was that offsides? Because it was really close. You could tell right away. I'm with Cooper on this one.
Miller and Moulton, thanks for listening right here on the Florida Sports Network.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
Golfers, are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost clubhead speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap Kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119. You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Well, does it matter? I mean, the NHL is based out of Toronto, so New York, Toronto, I mean, the equipment would be the same. I mean, it doesn't matter what city it's in. It's just that Toronto didn't call down. John Cooper's the best. There's a reason why we're here. What do you mean by relevant, Canada Relief? Well, the problem, DC, is that they're having to be asked to look at that's the whole point of why we brought it up. The team is the one that has to initiate the challenge. Our thought is this is a goal. This is kind of a big deal. Shouldn't the league be looking at this? I like your T-shirt, by the way. Yeah, I do.
These
See-
were some of, and I'm not being biased, the best uniforms in NBA history.
Uh-huh.
Well, I don't know about that, but I think they are great for a shirt.
Good jersey.
I think as an alternate jersey, once a month, that would work.
I think they're awful.
What?
Okay, I like them.
Come
Awful.
on. It's Miami Vice.
Yeah, I gotcha. There's a reason we left the 80s. The clothes were bad.
Yinzer, we brought that up earlier off air. Okay, I think it's a bad look that Emily Kaplan's wearing a mask when she's talking to the coaches, but not wearing a mask when she's in the crowd by the glass or after the game when she's interviewing the players. I don't believe she's wearing a mask. She is in between periods, but it's strange. Trying to figure out if that's coming from the network or the league. I'm guessing network.
Mark.
Yeah, I'm not going to change my mind. Those are awful. It's baby blue and pink. It looks like a baby shower.
They're so cool.
It
Really
looks
cool.
to me, it looks like a baby shower. I like classic jerseys. I like red, I like white, I like blue. I don't like hot pink and whatever blue color that is.
Blue Gale.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the hour. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. John Forslund to join us at the top of the hour, talk a little hockey. Scott Jackson will head to Washington, D.C. 1 hour from now. Talk about Daniel Snyder and more trouble that he and the Commanders may be in. Make sure you go to our poll question, floridasportsnetwork.com. It's a doozy.
Qatar is having the World Cup. They're threatening 7 years in prison for premarital sex. Drinking is also illegal in Qatar. If you're visiting for the World Cup, which could you go without? Booze, sex, lock me up. Right now, lock me up in the lead.
There you go. At least our audience is being honest. Kevin Weiss hosts the Locked On Rays podcast. Locked On Rays podcast. You can follow Kevin on Twitter at Kevin Weiss _. Kevin, it's David and Mark. Thanks for your time, particularly at this hour. How are you?
I'm doing well. I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you. I wish the Tampa Bay Rays were doing a little bit better, as they're now supposed to be fourth in the American League East, believe it or not.
Yeah, I know. 8 days ago, we were looking at this little stretch and going, well, they got 6 with the Yankees, chance to get back in it. And obviously they're 0-4 against that team. But Kevin, before the injuries happened last night, this team had become offensively challenged. When you look at them and you look at what may be on the horizon at AAA, can they become offensively unchallenged, or is this their fate for 2022?
Unfortunately, I think it's their fate for 2022. Look, this was a team that last year won 100 games. They had a terrific regular season. They disappointed in the playoffs, and I get it. You are the Rays, and you've got a terrific farm system, and you have to give an opportunity to guys like Vidal Brujan and Taylor Walls and Josh Lowe and Jonathan Aranda. And what that means is there's only so many spots available. So, and the Rays are very cost conscious as well. So they need to move, or believe they need to move, some of their veteran players. And they didn't bring back or got rid of Austin Meadows, Joey Wendell, Nelson Cruz, who they acquired at the trade deadline last year. That's 3 All-Stars. That's 3 veterans. That's 3 guys that you can count on pretty much day in, day out to produce for you. And when you replace those guys with rookies, it's not an easy thing to do. It's not fair to the rookies. It's not fair to the guys that are currently on the roster. And you also had to assume that Mike Zunino wasn't going to replicate the type of offensive performance he put out in 2021. Same thing for Brandon Lau. Of course, he's hurt. Wander Franco, we know he's the wonder kid. He's going to be, and already is, an amazing player. But it's a lot of pressure to put on a 21-year-old as well. So I think it was natural that the Rays would take an offensive hit. And I mean, it's a little bit of it's such a pendulum swing, because last year's team, I mean, that was the best offense in Rays history. And now you've got an offense that's middle of the pack, but I think it's only going to get worse with, we learn the injuries of Kevin Kiermaier and Manny Margot, and this team doesn't have any pop right now, and they struggle with runners in scoring position. So I don't think the guys that they're calling up, I guess as soon as today, Luke Raley and Jonathan Aranda are going to be the saviors. I mean, if I'm being frank here, you look at the roster today with all the injuries and everything that has happened so far this season, and with the trades over the offseason, it almost looks like AAA Durham from 2021 to some extent.
Well, Kevin, with all the injuries and now bringing up call-ups, does this change I mean, I doubt it changes their philosophy, but does this make them have to go out and get somebody? Do they have to at least look at the possibility of adding from the outside, because the playoffs are still the goal, and this is still a good, solid team, particularly when they get back from some of these injuries? Do they have to go out and acquire a bat?
Yeah, I think it's really a tough situation. I guess these next couple weeks, the next couple series will determine that. If they continue to slide, then no. But if they're still in the fight, we have to remember that playoffs are expanded. So just get to the dance, and good things can happen. So it really is contingent on how this team plays up until the trade deadline. Can they hold their heads above water? I think that's going to be the key. But on the flip side, I feel like going out and getting one bat, going out and getting Nelson Cruz 2.0, going out and getting a Tommy Pham or a Garrett Cooper, or pick a player, CJ Cron. I don't know if that moves the meter. I don't know if that totally changes the problems that this team still has. I don't know if one middle of the order bat, one trade acquisition like that really helps them elevates them offensively to a point where they can win games. I mean, this is really, really unfortunate what the Rays are experiencing right now. I mean, you look at their roster, they've got, as of today, 15 guys on the 40-man are going to be on the injured list. It's really, really tough. And if I was a betting man, I would think that this might just be play the prospects here. Play the young guys so you can stick around and look ahead, look forward to 2023 and 2024.
He's Kevin Weiss, host of the Locked On Rays podcast, Locked On Rays podcast. Follow him on Twitter, Kevin Weiss _, Kevin Weiss _. All right, Kevin, let me challenge you here on two fronts. First off, as you said it, 6 playoff teams. So even with the loss last night, they were half a game out of the playoffs. Number one. And number two, remember what the Braves did at the deadline last year? They got 4 bats, and none of them were huge. You know, a Soler, a Peterson, and next thing you know, it transformed their lineup. I'm looking at Trey Mancini with the Orioles. I'm looking at Benintendi with the Royals. Maybe even Dominic Smith, who doesn't have a place to play with the Mets. Former first-round pick, had a big year a couple years ago. I mean, these are guys, I mean, the Rays have so much depth in their system. As a fan, don't you kind of look at them now and go, hey, I know you love your prospects, but at some point when things go wrong, don't you have to trade some of them?
No, I agree. And I think there's also the point of the Rays do have such a deep farm system that they can't create opportunities for everybody. I mean, there's guys like Curtis Mead that are knocking on the door as well. And at some point, you're going to have to give him an opportunity too. But the flip side is, you know, why did the Rays opt to trade or not bring back 3 all-star caliber players or 3 tested veterans after winning 100 games? So to me, that says that they were okay with taking a little bit of kind of nosedive, but taking a step back and seeing which of the prospects can stick around. Can Josh Lowe, can he hang it in the big league level? Can Vidal Brujan? Can Taylor Walls? Can Jonathan Aranda when he gets an opportunity? So yes, the Rays can also be very strategic with some of their acquisitions if they choose to do that or close to the trade deadline. And we know that they utilize the platoons and they put guys in the best position to be successful. But I mean, just last night they lost their arguably best offensive bat in Manny Margot, and believe it or not, Kevin Kiermaier was pound for pound their best power hitter so far this season. So, and that's the problem. They might not have a guy. You know, that's the biggest thing from this year compared to last year. They had so many guys that had 25, 30, 35 home run potential. This year, you might not have a guy get to 20 home runs. You might not have a guy get to 18 home runs. And that really can bail you out of situations where you're leaving so many runners left on base and runners in scoring position, just a bloop and a blast, and that makes up for it. But you don't have anybody on the roster really this year that is clearing the bases for you on a consistent basis, and that creates a lot of problems. But sure, the Rays could go out and be creative and add, 3-4 veteran-type names. Trey Mancini, I think that might be a little unrealistic considering that would be trading within the division. And I don't know if the Rays want to try to make the Orioles better for the future with prospect capital, because the Orioles are, I mean, as soon as next year, 2024, they might be a team that wins, 75, 80 games. The days of the Rays going 18-1 in a season against the Orioles are over. But, yeah, I mean, everything. Look, I think it really is contingent on how these next couple of weeks go. If they continue to play the way they are, where, I mean, they're, 2-8 in their last 10 games and went 2-7 on this most recent road trip and couldn't score a run to really save their lives, then I think the Rays, they're going to have to just play out the string and see how it goes from there, especially if, I mean, the Yankees this very well could be a sweep for the Yankees. And they're playing like the 98 Yankees. So this just might be a little bit of a setback here. And then you come back and bigger, better, and stronger in 2023, 2024, and so forth.
And Kevin, that's where I'm kind of with you right now. With this Yankees team doing what they're doing, it's one thing to sit there and say, go out and make some trades. There's part of me, if I'll put it to you, which one would you do right now? If you were given the task of running the Rays, would you say, let's play the prospects and play the string out? Because quietly, I don't think I'm good enough this year to play with the big boys. Or would you never go up to that philosophy? If you're the one in charge, do you trade to get guys right now? Or do you play the prospects because you do have a Yankee team that's already won 50 games?
Yeah, I know it's not the most fun thing to hear, and fans will hate it, but I think it's play the prospects. The Rays, as it is, they very rarely go all in and go all out. I feel like this offseason was the opportunity to do that. I know they were in on the Freddie Freeman sweepstakes and some others, and when they lost out on that, that was sort of a buzzkill. So, coming off a season where you win 100 games, you would think that ensuing offseason that you would really make a lot of moves or several big-time moves to really shore up your team, and they didn't do that. So, and this assumes that the guys that are performing right now, Shane McClanahan and so many others they continue to carry the path that they are. Now, I could see a situation where the Rays in the second half of the season improve or start to make up ground, because they do have so much depth, where we know the dog days of summer that teams injuries can pile up, and the Rays, they've got such a deep farm system and such a deep roster. While it's a young roster, they do have a lot of bodies that they can deploy. Maybe they can make up ground. And also, the younger players, they struggle in April, May, and June, but maybe they pick it up and really start to get a foothold and a feel of the major league game in July, August, September. Like Josh Lowe, for example, he struggled the first couple months of the season, was sent down to AAA Durham. He looked okay in his first game back, and maybe it just takes some adjustments, takes some settling into to figure out, okay, this is what I have to do to hit major league pitches. It's not AAA where I'm seeing 92 heaters. At the big league level, I'm seeing consistently 97, 98 heaters.
Kevin, appreciate your time and your insight, particularly at this hour. Continued success with the Locked On Rays podcast. Locked On Rays. Follow Kevin on Twitter, Kevin Weiss _. Kevin Weiss _. Thanks, Kevin.
Of course. Thank you, guys. Anytime.
Kevin Weiss joining us here on Miller and Moulton. Here's another part of the Rays issues. They hosted the Yankees last night. Now, I know the Lightning hosted Game 3 of the Stanley Cup Final and all that. One, I don't know how much of a crossover audience it is, to be brutally honest. But
I think this time of year, when a team's in the final, it's a crossover.
Okay. The Yankees were in town. How many people do you think were at the game last night? It's the Yankees. All right. Capacity for a Rays game is around 28,500.
I'll say 50% capacity. 14,
Really?
15,000.
That's it?
Yeah.
For the Yankees.
Yeah.
I'll say 20.
Well, Mark, you're closer. 16,500. Actually, capacity they list now at 31. So they did 53% capacity for the Yankees. First off, half the crowd's Yankees fans. That means less than 10,000 Rays fans showed up for Garrett Cole against. These are two all-star pitchers. These are two aces going at one another. All right. And it's the Yankees. And
I got you. It's June. Tampa was playing a must-win game in hockey. I think that.
Okay. So tonight, then, with no hockey game, is tonight a better judge? Then?
Yes.
You're expecting the first digit needs to be a 2 tonight.
Absolutely.
Need to be in the 20,000s. All right.
So I've been to many Marlins games. Obviously, that stadium doesn't get filled. I went to Anthony Rizzo's first career game as a Yankee that was in Marlins Park last year. It was almost a sold-out game. And 70% of the fans were Yankees fans.
St. Pete's an issue.
St. Pete's a big issue. Even Yankee and Red Sox fans don't like to cross the bridge to go to games.
Right. So just wanted to bring that up last night. 16,500 for Yankees Rays. The Yankees must have looked around and think about it. The Yankees are like, man, outside of Oakland, when the hell are we going to play before this few people? Don't they know there's a baseball game?
Don't they know we're unstoppable right now? Shouldn't they come out and see us? Miller and Moulton, we thank you for listening. We don't know if we're unstoppable, but we'll be back in a moment on the Florida Sports Network. Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. FLGolfCarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, FLGolfCarts.com. FLGolfCarts.com.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
Golfers, are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost clubhead speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap Kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, FLGolfCarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. FLGolfCarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, FLGolfCarts.com. FLGolfCarts.com.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
I hated the Celtics.
Yeah, Mark, those uniforms are atrocious. They have a cool meaning.
I mean, the Knicks can never beat the Bulls, but I love Michael.
Right. I don't like the Bulls either, now that I think about it. I don't like the Bulls or the Celtics.
We're talking about the Red
Teams that
Sox.
I don't like. No, we've moved well past that. We're kind of going fast around here.
Gotcha. I got commercials playing in here. Sorry.
You know, it's funny. I didn't even dislike the Heat. Like, you know,
Gotcha.
I loved Riley,
Right.
even though he fucked the Knicks. I loved him.
Because he's a Don.
You know, I liked Zoe. You know, I liked Tim Hardaway. You know,
Right.
I liked Mashburn from college. I mean, you know, the only time I rooted against that team was when they played the Knicks.
Man, those were some good playoff matchups.
Well, they were great playoff matchups. It wasn't great basketball, but they were very intense playoff matchups.
Sloppy.
Very physical.
Very physical, yeah.
I mean, if people saw video of those games today, they'd blush. The best is Parrish throwing 3 punches at Bill Laimbeer, and I don't even think he got a technical foul. I mean, this is an Eastern Conference final in like 87 or 88.
It was 88.
It's so staggering how different everything, our society, the sports, everything is today. And that was just like
Those are awful.
Mid third quarter. Just got fed up with Laimbeer and he turned around and threw 3 punches. The referee basically came in and went, "Come on, Robert, you can't do that. Come on now.
I think he called a foul on him.
Yeah, I mean, give our buddy a call.
Like baseball unis. I mean, I don't like the Padres. I will honestly say I don't like the Padres.
tough.
You don't like the brown?
Tough to work with
I hate
Brown.
the Padres uniforms.
Tough to work with Brown.
But I mean,
I don't mind it.
The Cardinals are just gorgeous. The Pirates are gorgeous. The Orioles unis are fantastic.
I like the Twins baby blue jerseys.
Ugh.
Is it maybe because of your Carolina thing? Is that
No, I
why
don't.
You don't like the sky because you like it on the Chargers, right? I mean, you don't like it like I do.
Not like you, but it's a different color.
It is.
And it's their classic uniform. I don't mind Carolina's uniforms. I don't like their people.
Yeah, exactly, fam. Is that a flagrant 1 or a flagrant 2? I mean, yeah, whatever. RCB, I know that, but the Yankees were in town last night. There's a lot of Yankee fans in Tampa. They ain't sitting home watching the Lightning.
John's on hold. I really hope Kyrie opts out and becomes a Miami Heat. I'd freak out.
I actually don't think the Heat would sign him. I think if Kyrie called and said, hey, I want to come to Miami, I actually don't think they'd sign him.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Just like that, it's the third and final hour of Miller and Moulton here on the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Nick Faldo has retired from broadcasting effective in 2 months. He's going to go to Montana. Trevor Immelman will replace him in the CBS Golf Tower. And Brooks Koepka, according to Sky Sports, in the last half hour, they made it official that Koepka has left the PGA Tour and he is joining the LIV Series. He's ranked around 20th in the world, and he joins Abraham Answer in leaving the PGA Tour in the last 24 hours. John Forslund is kind enough to join us once again. The voice of the Seattle Kraken, one of the Turner voices, the NHL on TNT, and you heard him all over Sports USA Radio throughout these NHL playoffs, including the voice of the Eastern Conference Finals. You can follow John on Twitter at John Forslund. John, thanks for coming on once again. David and Mark, how are you?
Hey, good morning, guys. How are you?
Well, we are doing well on the surprise scale of 1 to 10. What were you last night?
Pretty surprised, and as the game evolved, very surprised because I still within that game. You know, Colorado was guilty of a lot of self-inflicted wounds and didn't play bad, and played well enough to beat them. But you know, the Lightning again show their championship medal, and they came out that way in the first few minutes. It was great for them. They had the first 3 shots. They were buzzing. Their forechecking seemed to have a purpose. I think a big turning point was the first goal that was called back. If that goal counts, and it shouldn't have, it was pretty obvious, but if it did, maybe the game would go down a different road. But coming out of the game, I think Colorado probably feels, you know what, that was going to be Tampa Bay's absolute best effort. If it was, I think Colorado was right there with it and could have won that game. So we'll see what happens tomorrow night.
Does Tampa have the ability to skate that well again, John? I mean, it looked as if in games 1 and 2, and even though game 1 was close and went to overtime, it seemed as if there was a big talent disparity between the two. Obviously, game 2, Colorado gets rolling and just looked like it was a NHL team against an ECHL team from a speed standpoint. Last night, it looked to me like Tampa found their stride. Can they continue to skate with Colorado like they did last night?
Right? And you'll hear coaches and players talk about being above the puck.
And so they were above the puck. They were above Colorado, and Colorado had the puck and defending. So they got to their structure. If they can get to their structure and stay that way through the middle of the ice, they have a chance. They might still get overwhelmed by the speed, because I think as it plays out here, and the war of attrition takes over, we know Point's not 100%, not even close. He didn't play last night. Nick Paul was injured last night, got through the game. What does that mean? Does it mean he just had enough to get through the game? Will he be the same? Riley Nash night, as you guys know, is a spare part. And Cooper oftentimes would go to 11 forwards and 7 defensemen, not dress Nash, but if Nash plays, he's playing sparingly. Maroon's limited with his speed. Great goal last night. Great player, great presence in the locker room, but he's limited in terms of minutes and speed. So I think as it plays out, as it gets deeper, swings back to Denver and so on, that speed's going to be tough to match. There's no doubt about it.
Well, and this could be, John, you did the Eastern Conference final, and you could tell us your firsthand observation when they started playing every other day, the fact that the Rangers 20 games in 40 days, right, did it affect them? And now, when was the time off in this series? It was at the very beginning. And now here are the Lightning with numerous injuries. There's no time off the rest of the way. It's every other day we're playing. I'm wondering if the benefit that the Lightning just had is now going to work against them.
It could. And many times, fellas, that's what happens in the playoffs. It's just a wear down, and that team that seems to have a lot of luck's important, youth, power, those things take over in a playoff series, and that could be the case here. Guys who are knocking on the door to get in the lineup for Colorado, what if Burakovsky, who's been great in the first 2 games in Denver, didn't play last night? He did travel into Tampa, so I guess he wouldn't do that if he wasn't an option for Game 4. And Nazem Kadri's hanging around, looking to get back in there, and he had a remarkable season for Colorado. So it seems like Colorado might get healthier to add to what they already have, and the Lightning might not, and that would take away from what they have. But you'll qualify it. This is a remarkable team in Tampa Bay, a remarkable group, obviously, that won't go away without a mighty fight. And look out. Should they tie the series? I mean, it's going to be great for hockey. We'll see.
We saw, John, last night that Colorado's nemesis might be between the pipes. The goaltending was not good last night. Vasilevsky played much better. And it is the one intangible about this, John, that we'll have no idea until we get to Game 4. What do you do if you're Colorado between the pipes?
Yeah, so great point, because what we see with Vasi is, what we saw, which was unbelievably bad in Game 2. And then what we see all the time with this guy is how he bounces back. So right away, he makes a sensational save on JT Compher early in the game, doing the splits there as Compher got inside of Paul. Him that lifts his team, that lifts the crowd, that Vasi's back type of thing. And you're getting back a world-class goalie when you say that. So as the game went along, even though these analysts try to pick apart his blocker side, if this continues, he'll be out of the league next year. You know what? I could see him get better and better. And by the way, most goalies have a tough time, high blocker. That's a high the chicken wing, and there's a hole there. That's why, great scorers can score. But anyway, he got better as the game went along. And when that happens, what happens in the other net? Darcy Kemper has to match him somehow. I don't know if he can. Wasn't good enough. And the second goalie, Pavel Francouz, is not an option. So, you're right. I think that's really an interesting matchup to watch. And Kemper just has to be very good. He doesn't have to be average to win the series. He's going to have to be very good. Tampa Bay is going to get power plays. They're going to get their chances. That Stamkos line with Palat and Kucherov was great last night. It's going to happen, and you're going to have to make saves. And once that Maroon goal went in, as we saw, that was it. So a big bounce back for him. And remember, he's fighting through an injury too. So it's not only the long layoff getting to this round, but he was injured in the playoffs, a significant head trauma, eye injury. No one really knows what it was. But anytime it's in and around the head for a goalie, if it's, say, for instance, it was a concussion, it's never good. So we'll see.
I think Bednar makes a change. I said it earlier.
He might.
They've lost 3 games in the playoffs. Kemper was the starting goalie in all 3.
Right.
The other guy's undefeated. I don't know. I thought you saw by the quick hook last night that and granted, Kemper was not good last night, but I don't think that Bednar's married to him. We shall see. He's John Forslund. He's one of the voices of the NHL on TNT. He is the voice of the Seattle Kraken, and he just got done calling the conference finals for Sports USA Radio. You can follow him on Twitter at John Forslund, FORSLUND. Can we go back to that first goal that wasn't? Why?
Yes.
John Cooper after the game said, hey, and this has nothing to do with the fact it was us in the finals, just in general. I don't think that should be on us. That should not be on the coaches. He basically said, why is it that can't be done by Toronto? And John, that also brings up a second point. We've debated whether or not on the first challenge that a team should be shorthanded. Should a team get one challenge? And maybe on the second challenge, if you're wrong, that, you were shorthanded. But let's go back. Does John Cooper have a point that, hey, that shouldn't be on the Lightning video staff?
I would agree with him. And let's look at this a variety of different ways. I'll try to keep it as concise as possible because you've opened up a conversation that could go on all morning, and I know you guys don't have time for that. When you look at this, there's a couple things here. So, natural progression of this. Or let me say this first. If this were the regular season, the puck would have dropped. They gave Cooper a ridiculous amount of time to come up with his decision. Now, it's a real pressurized situation. You're right about the penalty, and that's why it takes so long. So when this happens, the goal goes in. As soon as the goal goes in, the assistant coach, whoever has direct communication to the video room, says, what do you have? Those 2 poor guys, and they have 2 of the best in the league with the Tampa Bay Lightning, have to immediately, make a call in the video room and say, well, yeah, I think so. But they start debating back and forth. Then the head coach is looking at it. All the coaches are looking at it. And by the time you get to it, I think it was 1 minute and 20 seconds before they gave Cooper, the ultimatum, make a decision or not. That's too long. So they're either going to have to put a clock on it moving forward or stop that from happening. But I think the referees gave him a little bit of license because of he's down 0-2 in the series. They get scored on first. Give him a chance. He finally makes the right decision. If Toronto can make the call in the last minute of play regulation and certainly every minute of overtime, why can't they do it in the game? I agree. And they do blow the horn when they look at goals that have, say, for instance, a puck goes in and nobody sees it and then play continues. They blow the horn. That's Toronto. I don't know why Toronto can't look at it and determine what's going on. Other than to say, like you do, that you can have as many challenges as you want, which is fine, but you also pay the price of a penalty if you're wrong. And it creates a lot of tension. It's almost impossible. And in a Stanley Cup final, that's a lot of coaching staff. And I feel bad for all these great people who work in video rooms around the NHL. It's a tough job. And you've got to make a monumental decision within seconds and then hear about it if you're wrong afterwards. It's not good.
And also, quite frankly, you're dependent on the network that's televising the game to have the right
correct.
camera angle and to provide it quickly. And quite frankly, the network that did the game last night did not do that. All right. And,
No, they didn't. And they didn't give us as fans a chance to see anything.
Right.
You're right.
So, John, as always, appreciate your time and your insight. And one of those mornings where, we have all morning and you do as well. We'll pick this back up.
Yeah. I'll put my feet back up and call me anytime.
There you go. John, thank you.
Thanks, John.
Thanks.
John Forslund, the best at what he does. Wish he was doing it in the finals.
Oh, my goodness.
The voice of the Seattle Kraken, one of the voices of the NHL on TNT, and he just got done calling the Eastern Conference Finals on radio.
Good news, next year's TNT will have the Stanley Cup final.
Yes, they will. They alternate. 7-year deal. The ESPN gets 4 of them. TNT gets 3 of them. They alternate.
But good point that you make there, just how long it took for us we didn't get a replay.
Hey, we're guilty of it sometimes in college football. I mean, the network is the one. The replay official can only work with what the network gives them. CBS is pretty good at it, but every now and then we're slow. Miller and Moulton, thanks so much for being with us here on the Florida Sports Network.
Golfers, are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost clubhead speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap Kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Read the Wu-Tang is for the children tweet and the thing under it in black.
Where the one in black?
Here, this.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. That and Oliver Luck and McMahon settled. Oliver Luck was suing Vince McMahon, the whole XFL thing.
Oh,
They settled. TMZ just reported that they settled.
gotcha.
Brooks Koepka.
You know what's so funny? I actually did Brooks Koepka research last night, put a bio together. There's like 6 of them that had not yet announced that I'm putting it together. I figured to save myself time.
Are you doing the cards and you mail them the cards, or you just do it online now? Or
I just send it. Yeah, just send it to them in a PDF and say print them out.
so you type them all now?
Yep.
You type them on a 5x8 or on regular?
No, just on a computer. I try to give every golfer their own page. So it's like I sent them like a 53-page thing for the London.
So what do you do? A Word document, then save it as a PDF?
Yeah. Okay, back to Kyrie very quickly. All right, there is no organization more about culture than the Heat. There might not be a player that represents anti-Heat culture more than Kyrie Irving. I honestly think that Riley would say, no, can't do it. This is against everything. First off, he doesn't play every day. That right there, Spoelstra and Riley would lose their flipping mind. right there. Could you imagine Kyrie Irving with Jimmy Butler? Seriously.
I mean, they played on the Olympics
Jimmy
together.
Butler would kill him.
Here's
Physically. Udonis Haslem would have to physically. First off, Udonis Haslem would kill Kyrie Irving.
Yeah, someone in Twitch chat said he'd throw him against a wall.
Kill him.
He'd throw him through a wall.
Yes, he would. He would physically, he would be Barkley, throw that guy through a window. Yes. It's literally the one place in the league he can't play.
Hold on. Real quick, let's just look at Kyrie's career. He leaves.
No. We all know Kyrie's career. You don't have to tell me. We all know Kyrie's career.
What I'm saying is,
could he play in Miami?
Yes.
I think you're wrong.
If Kyrie focuses on basketball,
he hasn't.
He's one of the best
30,
points.
He's 30 fucking years old. He's been in the league 10 years. He's focused on basketball for 2 years. And only because LeBron was hanging over him. Okay? Kyrie would go to Miami, think he's the best player on the team. That would get him in trouble right there.
I think he could revitalize his career.
He didn't play ball with Durant. You think he's going to go to Miami? His boy, as he said, my guy.
But that didn't work because they're just boys playing basketball. Like, they don't have a system. They don't have an identity as a team.
Kyrie Irving would destroy the Heat. Never mind the fact that he doesn't play for less than $40 million a year. No way. No way.
I actually think Jimmy Butler and Kyrie Irving are close. Oh, Mark, here we go. South Beach Kyrie. Oh, he loves our women too.
Oh my God, our women.
Our women.
Kid hasn't been laid this century, and he's saying our women. I'm a 50-year-old married guy, and I do better than you.
Wow. You don't know that.
He is mellow.
Yeah, I do.
He's
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
I'll tell you what, that last commercial break is a reason to sign up for the Miller and Moulton Twitch.tv channel. That's a follow, subscribe. I mean, that was glorious. And you hated all of it, and you hung yourself. You took your headphone cord and you wrapped it around your neck, and you hung yourself.
I was trying to find something to attach it to and just end it right then.
Felipe and I got into it. That's first off, I mean, you get to see the two of us. That's not that big a draw. But you get to see and hear it during the breaks and the whole deal. We do our own show during the breaks. It's different than the one we do on the air many times. It's fun. It's entertaining sometimes. Felipe
Sometimes it is.
Yeah, we were yelling at each other.
Then there was that commercial break. Wow.
So anyway, you can text the show, FSN Radio, all one word, to 21,000. You can take in the show via the Miller Moulton Twitch.tv channel. If you're an Amazon Prime customer, you get a free Twitch channel. So make ours the one you follow. Just there you go. It's worth the price of admission, which is free. We don't overhype ourselves.
No, we do not. That is for sure.
Miller and Moulton. Scott Jackson will join us from DC coming up in a little more than 15 minutes. Been an eventful morning already, though.
It really has. Brooks Koepka announcing he is leaving the PGA Tour to join the LIV Golf Tour, the LIV Golf Tour, whichever you want to call it's fine by us. I think they're going with the LIV Tour, aren't they?
Yeah, and I think technically they're the LIV Golf Series.
Okay.
Whatever. But, most people just, think of it as the Saudi Tour, whatever works for you. But, yeah, we go with LIV, L-I-V.
And now with Koepka
and Abraham Answer, who I think the World Golf Rankings out this morning, aren't they 20th and 21st in the World Golf Rankings? 19th and 21st, something like that.
But now you've got DeChambeau, 27, Answer, 31, Reed, 31, Koepka, 32.
You're talking age now.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
27
the
and
World
32.
Golf number, I'll let you worry about those. I'm not studying those at night.
Okay.
I'm just trying to figure out how old they are because I think that's a little more relevant part of what was said about this tour is there's a bunch of has-beens who aren't going to win anymore past their prime. When you start getting the DeChambos and the Koepkas and the Answers, these are guys that are in the prime of their career.
Mm-hmm.
And good players.
Yes, absolutely. I also think some of them are motivated because they haven't won in a while and they don't want their best days to be completely done. Like, I think DJ's like, yeah, I'm going to show you guys I can win one more. All right. Koepka certainly thinks, he's injuries, knock on wood. Hopefully he's past them. He's gotten married now. Hopefully he's got 2-3 years here where he, grinds it a little bit.
So Kokrak's the other name that we've been looking at that's been rumored to go to the tour, who's not yet done it.
Well, considering that he played the U.S. Open with a Saudi golf bag, I would think there's a really good chance that Jason Kokrak is going to join the LIV series.
And that will probably happen today. That would be 3 since the end of the U.S. Open.
Yeah, and we have no idea if this is all coordinated and they wanted to do it once a day. The one everybody's been waiting on, the word was Ricky was going to announce when Phil did. So that's 2+ weeks now.
Yeah, I think Ricky's got a lot of friends in his ear.
Oh, I definitely think so.
And those must be interesting conversations because Ricky's sitting there with no status right now.
Right. Like, he literally was first alternate. I forget who it was that withdrew from the U.S. Open, like the Thursday morning of it. And obviously an alternate got in, and Ricky was the first guy out. He tried to qualify, ended up being one of the alternates. And in fact, I think it was Abraham Answer that withdrew last minute from the U.S. Open, and somebody got in. And then literally the guy on the bubble that didn't get in was Ricky Fowler.
Now, Ricky's playing this week in the Travelers. He's already benefiting from the LIV Tour. I mean, he may have been on this list anyhow, but he's not really our regular tour player right now.
Well, and also 3 guys yesterday who all played 72 holes in the U.S. Open. They all withdrew from the Travelers who were originally on the list, including Zalatoris. He said, yeah, I'm not playing.
So it will be, to me, it will be interesting to see if we get more this week.
I definitely think we will.
And who it is. But there's going to be another exodus coming after the British Open in a month.
Yeah, that's where I think you have to start looking at Paul Casey, Justin Rose, Adam Scott. International players, 2 of them European. And are they all just keeping status quo until they get through the Open Championship? And then if they're going to make their move, that's the time to make it.
And then the biggest story that's yet out there on this that we think is being underreported is, what does the DP World Tour do?
Does it stay in lockstep with the PGA Tour?
Which they claim they were going to do. And if they were going to do, why haven't they done so already?
Right. I mean, think about it. They got a Scottish Open coming up the week after the LIV series plays in Portland. And the word is that, there's quite a few of the Euros that are signed up for it. So the DP World Tour would have to ban them to kick them out. They're not yet out. I mean, I think Poulter's in. I think Sergio's in. So unless the DP World Tour is going to ban them, then, okay, you're going to let them play in this European Tour event? Because obviously the PGA Tour won't let these guys moonlight and play in a few PGA Tour events. So here's the other thing that needs to be discussed. And this is where I challenge the mainstream golf media. Listen, say you hate Norman, you hate Phil, you hate this series. Can we talk about, more of these guys are joining than you thought would join now? You got to admit that, don't you? And do you think it's all about the money? That's a serious question. The answer could be yes.
I do.
You think it's strictly 100% all about the money?
Money and amount of times you have to play.
Bingo. That's my point. Don't get me wrong. Money's the number one
Money's
reason.
95% of it, but it's the money, and I only got to play. And I'll take it 2 years down the road. I got to play 12, 14 tournaments.
And I think it's twofold. I think it's A, I don't have to play as much. And B, I don't like the fact that I'm an independent contractor, and yet the PGA Tour feels they can dictate when and where I can play.
I will say on this whole independent contractor thing, they sign a deal with the PGA Tour. They sign a membership that states in the membership what is required of membership.
Right, but they don't like it. They don't like it. And quite frankly, what's in that membership, there's a lot of people think it's illegal. Okay, it's in there. It's like an HOA. I mean, and then there's some people take the HOA to court and go, yeah, I know it's in the HOA, but this is illegal. They can't put this in the HOA. And sometimes the court go, you're right. Or a country club membership or what have you. And I think that's what's going on here. There's no doubt it's in the PGA Tour bylaws. And what the LIV series and Phil and quite a few other golfers, and especially the European golfers, are like, yeah, I know it's in the bylaws, but it's illegal. We had to sign it. We didn't have anywhere else to go. What other choice did we have? Now we have a choice. Now we're going to make a point. That can't be in the bylaws.
You think the PGA will ever crumble and change and lower the number of events guys have to be in?
Well, I think the courts may do it for them. I mean, the NCAA wasn't going to change until the Supreme Court went 9-0. And I think the same thing may happen here with the PGA Tour. I think it's going to the Supreme Court. It's going to take 3 years, and I think they're going to lose.
Well, at some point, somebody's got to sue somebody for them to even get in this. And so far, there hasn't been anything filed from the standpoint of a lawsuit.
They're too busy signing golfers. They don't have a tournament in between the end of July and Labor Day weekend. That gives them a whole month to come up with something.
Miller and Moulton, always eager to sue somebody.
And trying to avoid getting sued.
On the Florida Sports Network.
Golfers, are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost clubhead speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap Kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made to order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the Chicken Bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
And we got Snyder and Del Rio. There's not really other Commanders things, are there? I mean, they're going to suck.
Well, I got to admit, I'm very curious as to what's the reaction there about the whole free speech thing. Okay. Or is it just overridden by the fact that what the event of January 6th took place in their backyard and people just,
Oh, yeah. You can always hear us on commercials on Facebook, Sonny. It's just when it goes over the air is when we get a little nervous. Sonny, you must be in heaven with Notre Dame in the College World Series, for crying out loud.
Elimination game today at 2:00.
Yeah, this is just bonus time for them. Come on, they're in the College World Series. I was watching Moscona does a good job. I mean, I wish we were that good with social media because he's putting stuff up on TikTok every day and putting minute clips up there. But there's a whole thing on college baseball, and he must do college baseball on the show.
Who?
Matt Moscona.
Okay.
I just
Right.
he puts stuff up on TikTok, and he doesn't. His producer does a really good job of getting everything up on social media.
I do a horrible job.
Didn't say that. I said his producer does an amazing job.
Jerry, I don't know. I think Kyrie's actually a pretty good dude. Is he
All that
outrageous?
time you spent with him?
No, like his teammates like him. I mean, he probably likes himself a little bit more, but I don't know. And the young guys would look up to him. Like Tyler Hero watched Kyrie Irving highlights growing up. Because he's my age and I did the same thing. The Brooklyn Nets are a joke also. I'm starting to think that KD should have gone to the Knicks.
Do you imagine if football play? I mean, does any sport listen to the media and worry about the media the way basketball players do? It is incredible. They are the softest athletes on the planet, mentally softest.
Yeah, the way that Kyrie or KD just responds to random fans.
But there's more than just KD doing it. KD's the worst.
He's the worst. I don't know what that guy's problem is. Like, a 13-year-old can say something bad about him, and he'll basically tell him
Wants to be liked by
F off.
everybody.
I
He
gotta make a
wants
phone
to be liked by everybody.
Yeah. It's not how the world works.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
clock. 22 minutes before the hour. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. That's where you can find our poll question. Mark?
Very simple one today. Cutter is threatening 7 years in prison for premarital sex. Drinking is also illegal in Qatar. If visiting for the World Cup, which could you go without? Booze, sex, or lock me up? Booze is strong second place to lock me up right now, David.
I'm an Irish Catholic, so You know where my vice would be. Scott Jackson, you can hear him on the Team 980 in DC, also the Washington Commanders Radio Network. You can follow him on Twitter at Jackson Sports. Scott, it's David and Mark once again. We know you got duties here in 20 minutes, so we'll make it quick. How are you?
Good. Good morning, David and Mark. How you guys doing?
Well, we are doing fine. Can we go back a week or so? The Jack Del Rio press conference and subsequent action by the head coach. First off, was it Ron Rivera acting on his own? Was he acting on behalf of the organization? From afar, this is a fascinating story.
Yeah, and I think, Jack Del Rio is very, I guess, active on Twitter for a couple of years, and this is nothing new. I mean, I think people understand where he stands politically on a lot of issues for what he's done, which is fine. I thought he did a good job up to the last question that day, and at that point he had moved on to the football stuff, and then he had to get that last little point in, and almost felt like it was a little bit like Jack Nicholson, and A Few Good Men, and he wanted you to know that he ordered the code red. He wanted you to know crystal clear what he was saying, which he thought that would happen at the Capitol in his backyard was just a little dust up, and these other events the previous summer, which were just as equally as bad, if not worse. And I can't believe we're wasting all this political taxpayer money, blah blah blah. And so he made it really clear, and that's where he just more than insert foot in mouth. I mean, at that point, you got sponsors, you got people going, oh my God, they're trying to get a stadium deal done. What is this guy doing? And again, you're in DC, you're not in, Wyoming. Okay. I mean, know where you are, dude. And I think that's what crushed him more than anything. And yeah, I mean, look, Del Rio or Rivera, is he acting on his own? I think number one, he believes what he said, about Jack. And giving him a right to go ahead and express those feelings, but this did become a distraction for the football team. Like then players are being pulled off the field, going, "Hey, what did you think about what Jack said?" What's going on? It's like, this is the last thing this team needs to be focused on right now. So I think that's where the football part of it, conduct detrimental to the team is what I think Ron should have put out in the original release with the fine or whatever he was going to do. Probably, maybe was a little bit too detailed, as he often is when he talks as well about the overall feelings here. But yeah, it was definitely an organizational thing. I think it was a Ron, feelings as well. And just the overall, like, come on, man, we just had a practice where we talked about discipline issues and a player, knocked a player on the ground. And here's one of our coaches who has no discipline in front of the microphone.
It's tough to think that Del Rio is going to change his philosophies. Will he change his attitudes about not posting things as much? Do you think this is something that's in the rearview mirror now, Scott?
Well, yeah, he deleted his account, although prior to deleting his account, he had retweeted something, some quote about freedom of speech, et cetera. I don't remember the exact quote. It was some Elon Musk thing, but anyway. So, he had one of his little last message said, a retweet that he then deleted and then deleted the account. So, look, he's not changing his mind. Like a lot of these great political conversations, nobody's changing anybody's mind. People are pretty dug in right now. In these days. And again, with the political spectacle that is this franchise, it just was the worst possible timing and the worst possible phrasing. And obviously, it cost him some money. And then, of course, Ron Rivera faced his own punishment from the NFL for practices the following week. So it's like a merry-go-round of stuff here, as always.
Scott Jackson doing some work with 980, the team in DC, and the Washington Commanders Radio Network. Follow Scott on Twitter at Jackson Sports. Listen, we're obviously not where you are, but we laughed when the congressional committee, wanted Daniel Snyder to appear before them. We joked that, there was a better chance of them accepting us testifying on his behalf than him actually testifying. But you do wonder, he can't do a Zoom from wherever he is.
Right.
Right. I mean, I get it. Listen, let's just say he's on a vacation, wherever it is. I mean, internet, you can bring your own MiFi. I mean, come on now.
Yeah. Listen, he's on a pretty fancy yacht that I'm pretty sure has Wi-Fi, and he's in Cannes. He's off the coast of Cannes in France. So, first of all, the fact that he says he's on team business is laughable, number one. Number two, unless, of course, they're moving to France. Maybe they're trying to get a stadium deal in Cannes. I don't know. I mean, they can't get one around here. Maybe in another country they don't know who he is or what he's about. I don't know. But anyway, yeah, it's completely laughable. The whole thing's laughable, right? Like, you can be in the position, this is a huge waste of time for taxpayers and ridiculous and idiotic and all these things and political theater, which it is. And you can also be in the mindset, but I really would love to see him get in front of those people and get grilled, because he needs to be held accountable, because he hasn't been to this point. And again, I'll just go back, and I probably said this to you guys before if we talked about it in the past, is, I blame this on the league. Roger Goodell set this up in August when he, like he did with Spygate, when he burned the tapes or whatever he did with it, destroyed the tapes. When he destroyed the Wilkinson report and never released it, he just opened this can of worms. And then this whole thing, well, Dan's leaving the team. He's going to go work on stadium issues as his wife takes over, making it sound like he was suspended, which he wasn't. He was here all the time. And by the way, the stadium thing has gone worse as he has become more hands-on with it, which is really a bigger indictment of who he is and his ownership career here. So it's a mess. I mean, I think tomorrow what will be interesting is if Roger Goodell does what he's paid to do, which is just take the bullets for the owners and plays a good soldier, or does he kind of, sway some blame to Dan Snyder, which I think is possible. I do think there's some possibility of that here. He's frustrated. The other owners are frustrated. He's seen enough reporting about that. Now, can they really do anything about it? I doubt it. I doubt they'll go down that road unless, of course, the allegations of them skimming off the top from the money that should have been shared with the league, it comes out to be true, and they get a smoking gun there. Then I think he's in for some trouble. But, this other stuff, workplace environment, I think there's a lot of other owners, as we know now, with what's going on with the Raiders, the Cowboys, that this is not a new story. A lot of these guys, I'm sure, have NDAs they hope never get unearthed, as well with former employees as the Commanders and the Washington football team and the Washington Redskins have had happen over these last several years.
Scott, I'm just waiting for the next story to come out in Washington to throw more cover on this team. But you mentioned the stadium. It would seem that he's avoiding Congress to try to. Does one have anything to do with the other? Is there avoiding this to try to that he thinks is going to help get a stadium done? Is showing up? Is by some point taking any blame for anything going to help get a stadium done? I mean, it just seems that, all right, there's a fire here. Let's start one over there so we can not worry about this fire right now with the Washington football team.
Yeah, it's funny too. I heard a story from ESPN's Jeremy Fowler just the other day that he tweeted out that the Commanders are really trying hard on that third day of the mandatory minicamp to get a deal done with Terry McLaurin. It does feel like, yes, there's always like an opportunity for them, and they've done this in the past, no matter what the iteration of the name was, to create new headlines, create new news stories. When this stuff was coming out a few weeks ago and it was getting messy with some of the stuff with Snyder, there was a drop about the stadium property being bought in Virginia, or the purchase agreement, as it turned out to be not really property being bought yet. So, yeah, there's always something that it seems to be, hey, look over here instead of over there, going on. The problem is, this has never been a guy in 20-plus years, and the job has shown no ability to take accountability for anything, frankly. And it's really held them back. And I don't know if you can, at this point change. They've done a lot of obviously changing. He's always been good. They say to athletes that fall guys that they hang out with in case, anything happens when they're hanging out. I mean, he's been the master of that. He's had fall guys here over the years, whether, and again, not the Bruce Allen that was the cleanest of people, but he was certainly one of them. Our radio play-by-play guy was part of it. Former team presidents that nobody would know have been a part of it. I mean, it's incredible, the turnover in that office over the years, and never once have said in front of a microphone, hey, I'm sorry for this happening, and, we're going to do better, or anything like that. It's always been through releases, through lawyer talk, doubling down on, their position and trying to kind of drag the accusers through the mud a little bit too. So it's been ugly. And I don't see it getting any better. And, and what I'm fascinated to see if, the NFL and really what do the other 31 teams want out of this with Roger Goodell? Does he have a voice tomorrow to sound like a leader? Or is he just, again, the commissioner that's, the puppet of 32 very successful, very rich business people? And we'll find out tomorrow. Tomorrow morning will be pretty interesting.
Scott, I know you got to go very quickly.
Sure.
Would winning change it? Like in Cincinnati a year ago, the Brown family was not getting a new stadium at all.
Right.
I mean, that community had soured on him, and their feeling was, hey, you've got the money, suck it up. You're not getting a stadium from us. Well, then we all know what happened. And now Mike Brown's going to get a new stadium as long as Joe Burrow's a Cincinnati Bengal. Would winning change the dynamic, or are the waters for Snyder so muddied that it may not matter?
Yeah, I think that's a great question because we don't really ever know because it never lasts long if they do win, right? Like it's always these 10-win seasons or gosh, a 7-9 championship of the NFC East a few years ago. They've never had a great season under him. The problem is, it's the NFL. Hey, anybody, can have it one season, but the good teams, the good franchises, to be successful over time have to have good, structure from the top to bottom. And this has been the problem here. I mean, I'm looking at Robert Griffin III right now on television. In 2012, they had a moment, right? They had the town in the palm of their hand because of him, and they screwed that up. And a lot of that was owner involvement that screwed that up, not just the injury, but the backstory there was the owner got in between, in the fight between the coach and the player and the player's family, and he sided with the player and the player's family. And Robert Griffin III's on TV right now, so Kyle Shanahan's doing pretty well in the NFL, and a lot of other coaches that were on that staff are doing pretty well in the NFL. Obviously Mike's been out of the business, and I think he did get damaged from that. But everybody else around him is doing okay. So yeah, I mean that's how I look at it. I mean, I don't know. It's so hard to think that way because we just don't ever see it. And even in '99 when he first got the team, they had a really good season. With Brad Johnson, the quarterback. They were on the cusp of being there. They had a fumbled snap against Tampa. Who knows, right? Like maybe they win that field goal and they go to the NFC Championship game. And so what does he do in the offseason instead of just like tweaking the defense? He brings in Jeff George and Deion Sanders. Lets Brian Mitchell go. I mean, one of the heart and souls of this franchise. I mean, just anything stupid you could think of, he's done it here, like to disrupt what appears to be momentum. So, yeah, I think there is a lot of damage that it's more than just one season would have to fix. Had they gotten Russell Wilson this offseason, who knows? Maybe that would have been the ultimate deodorant, but they didn't. Carson Wentz is not this lovable, cuddly guy, and he may be great, for them. Who knows? We'll see. I think he's definitely an upgrade in terms of talent. It's just all the other stuff with him in the past that's hurt him, obviously.
All right, go to work. We appreciate your time as always. Be well.
All right, guys. Always good talking to you, David and Mark. Take care. You have a good day.
Scott Jackson with 980 The Team in D.C., the Washington Commanders Radio Network. Follow him on Twitter, Jackson Sports. Jackson Sports.
Can't wait because there'll be a time, hopefully, as long as we're able to do this for a little while longer. I mean, it's got to be a few years because it's not going to be this year. But we've had these long-term relationships with like Scott and Andy Baskin in Cleveland. And we've talked to them when it's been bad. And when it got good, to hear Andy's voice.
Oh, he was almost in tears.
And to hear Scott answer that last question, would winning cure it? He didn't have an answer for you, David, because he could not imagine a situation that the football team wins consistently. And I don't think any of us can.
I mean, even Gibbs took him to the playoffs twice in his second go-around. They won one playoff game. But he's right. They have not been able to put back-to-back playoff seasons together. 2012 was an aberration. Gibbs, I think it was separated by a couple years, the 2 years he went to the playoffs. Norv Turner's year was 99. Marty Schottenheimer wins 8 of his last 11 games as head coach. He fires him. They can't put back-to-back years together, and this has gone on for a generation.
But, I mean, we've had it. We talked to Sorin Petro in Kansas City, and we talked to him when they weren't good.
Correct.
And just the difference, the inflection in their voice. Mo Egger in Cincinnati, a guy that we've talked to for years, mostly when there's a reason that things are bad and we've got to talk to him about something that's gone wrong in his town. And now all the positivity, they can't contain themselves. It's been fun from this seat to listen to some of these guys.
Well, and look at what's changed things in the places where things have been changed. A Patrick Mahomes and a Joe Burrow. That's what you need. That changes everything.
They don't have one of those in Washington.
No, they don't. And like he said at the end, would Russell Wilson, if they had won that sweepstakes, would that have changed things? I don't think we're going to see it for a while there. I don't know if you and I can keep doing this long enough. I don't know if we can outlast Daniel Snyder.
We're younger.
Yeah.
It's the one thing we've got going for us, David.
I know. He's richer and he's protected. Only takes one vote to end our careers. It takes 24 for him.
I got you. I wasn't really thinking of him getting voted off the island. I just think we can outlive him.
Well, maybe one of us can. Miller and Moulton. If this is the end for you, have a great rest of your day.
We just mean the show.
Right. The bonus hour is next.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the Chicken Bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
Golfers, are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost clubhead speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap Kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the Chicken Bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
Golfers, are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost clubhead speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap Kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Adam, I think Del Rio, I think that presser prevents him now from ever becoming a head coach again. Even if many of the owners agree with him, I think the presser is now, and I actually think, Adam, that a year from now they're going to move on from Del Rio. But that the reason they didn't do it already was that Del Rio would be able to turn around and sue him. So my guess is they're just going to not have a good season, and Ron's going to make some coaching changes, and one of them will be Del Rio. I think he's a good coach too. I thought he got hosed with the Raiders. And he's certainly the best Jags coach since Coughlin. Well, sometimes, Stratharian. Hello? Yes. Thursday, right? Yep, I will be there. Will do. Okay. Okay. Or at least pre-diabetic, but yes. I think so. Yes, it should be. A medication should be listed. Not a problem. All right. Take care.
I had to stop in and see Raj there because I don't know if you've noticed. Have you noticed that new PD is really intense?
Yes.
Raj goes, I go, Raj goes, he is every PD I remember from the 80s and the 90s. I'm like, I knew you had to have something. I go, the light's always on really bright.
Like, we're gonna make you the star of the station. All right. I'm here for 4.5 hours a day. Right.
Thank you. I just, I told Raj I had to stop in because I just.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you. First day of summer. How the heck are you? Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. A lot going on in the sports world, even for this time of year. NBA draft is Thursday. Free agency starts a little more than a week after that. You've got player options on contracts that may or may not be picked up and could lead to the Bradley Beals and Kyrie Irvings of the world being unrestricted free agents. So there's a lot of talk going on with that. NHL, of course, Lightning with a huge win last night to get back in the Stanley Cup Finals. Avs with a 2-1 series lead. Game 4 tomorrow night. Who will be in goal for Colorado? Since they pulled Darcy Kemper midway through the Game 3 loss when he gave up 5 goals in 31 minutes. And at least 3 of them were, oh boy, want that back. So I think they make a change.
Bednar was non-committal towards either after the game. He's not been afraid to bounce at 2 goalies in the regular season at all.
By the way, could that be the future? Do you think hockey could do with goalies what the NFL has done with running backs?
Yes, 100%, because there are only 5 great ones out there. And if you don't get one of the 5 best,
right, like if you don't have a Vasilevsky or a Shesterkin
or a Quick,
right, that you're like, well, we'll just keep riding the hot hand, and the minute he gets cold, we'll go to the other guy.
Yes, 100%.
I mean, I will say you go back, yes.
Oh, it was the big difference, as you well know, David. And I love your analogy. The only difference is one's being phased out economically, whereas the other one is the most important, still is the most important position on your team.
Agreed. So, that is the big difference, right? Where the quarterback's the equivalent of the goalie, right? And so we're talking about phasing or splitting carries for the running back. Obviously, it's not the case. That would be like splitting defensemen or what have you. So, have a perfect analogy.
Because I don't think you'd trade for Najee Harris is a number 1 running back. At least they think he is. He's their main guy. He's a 3-down back. No one's going out and trading for him to win a Super Bowl, whereas you would go out and trade for the goaltender to win a Stanley Cup.
No doubt. Agree with everything that you said. Although it is interesting to see what kind of a market Christian McCaffrey is going to have, because I think they want to peddle him. I mean, that coach is trying to get rid of everybody. I think he's doing it to try to save his you-know-what, but I
Boy,
think,
and how interesting would McCaffrey be on the right team?
exactly. And let's just say they get off to a bad start again and Carolina makes him available at the trade deadline. Now, obviously, he has to be healthy, and he's not been healthy the last 2 years. And that's a problem, obviously. But, hey, deals have been made with players that are injury-prone, a team that's close. But I just thought I'd throw that out there about goalies, that I could see that being the future, that they pay two guys $3 million instead of paying one guy 7 to 8. I could see a lot more of that.
Who would be I'm this McCaffrey thing? Now you got me fascinated. Just give me 3 or 4 teams that you think would be all in on McCaffrey.
Well, first off, there are certain teams that if they lose a key guy would make a deal. I mean, let's face it. I mean, name me a player the Rams wouldn't acquire. I mean, if
Great place to start.
I mean, honestly, the Rams
No,
are
you're right.
all in. And so, to me, there's not a single player that they wouldn't. Well, we'll give up a first and a third for him. Sure. And we'll figure out a way. I mean, we got one of the richest owners in the league. I mean, hell, he built this $5 billion stadium himself. Didn't ask for any help with the financing. We got no problems structuring contracts where he's got to take money out of his wallet. Hell, that's all he's got. So, to me, they get a key injury and all of a sudden they need McCaffrey. I could see them doing the deal. They're all in. Hey, Donald's only playing 1 to 3 more years. Stafford's still a top 10 quarterback for 1 to 3 more years. Kupp is 29. I mean, you probably got 1 to 3 more elite years out of him. I mean, this window, they know how big that window is. And I don't think there's anything they wouldn't do to maximize their chances of winning in that window.
No, I can't argue with a word you're saying, because when you say Rams and acquiring players, I almost needed to phrase the question. Take the Rams off the board and find me 3 or 4 teams.
Listen, I don't think they do it, and there might be some reluctance to do it in the division and all that. Leonard Fournette gets hurt. Let's talk about the Tampa Bay Bucks running back situation.
First off, division thing I think would take that away, but it was the first team I thought of if there's no Fournette, if an injury were to happen, because there's not anything behind him that Brady's comfortable with.
And obviously, you're in a win-now mode. I mean, you're certainly operating as if this is the last year we have Tom Brady, which also you could then make the case we're going to need even more good players beginning in 2023, because how in the world are we going to have a quarterback as good in 2023 as we have in 2022? I actually think it makes the deal more justifiable.
The team I thought of were the Kansas City Chiefs.
That's interesting.
I know, they lost Tyreek Hill and they're trying to replace him, but this adds another element of someone that you've got to constantly pay attention to that would free up Kelsey in different situations. It was the first team I thought of because they're a team that lost a big weapon.
And obviously they drafted Edwards-Helaire a couple years ago in the first round. But if, let's just say, he's not getting it done and or he's hurt again, their window, they tried to enlarge it by getting rid of Tyreek Hill and going the cheaper, shorter-term route in a lot of areas. They had a bunch of draft picks this year that they're counting on, at least for depth. They're pretty good with starters, but they're counting on this draft and this offseason free agency to basically be their depth. So, but I'm just saying, it's possible. Listen, if you're Buffalo, come on. What wouldn't you give up to win a Super Bowl? If you're convinced, listen, if we get Christian McCaffrey, we're winning the damn Super Bowl. I mean, come on.
Then there's no price that's too high.
No.
There really isn't.
No.
And that's from ownership to GM to every member of the team, to their entire fan base.
Yeah,
David and I have a lot of Bills people in our lives, Bills acquaintances, and it doesn't matter which one you talk to. They're excited / nervous as hell about this season.
Quick tidbit about the Chiefs. Is this Juju Smith-Schuster's best opportunity in terms of like this could be his best season? I mean, he's their number one guy.
Well,
Kelsey's their number one
but I know
guy,
what you're thinking.
but
A
he's the
wide
number one
receiver.
receiver.
He's the number one wide receiver. I mean, this could be the best opportunity of his career.
One would think so. Patrick Mahomes in his prime. A good offensive line to protect the quarterback. Another receiver on the field that'll get all the double teams. I mean, he shouldn't see many safeties this year.
He can earn that if he plays well. He's in a perfect situation.
Well, there's a couple of guys like Valdez-Scantling. I mean, there's a couple of guys. It's like, are they really ones? We're probably going to find out this year. And I'm not sure that they are. That's okay. Make a really good living is a really good too.
They still have McCole Hardman as well, yeah?
Yeah, I'm not sure what he is either.
Who's not really done much.
Right. But they're going to try to diversify the offense this year. Another reason to back up your Chiefs thought. I think the Chiefs, I know what I'm about to say in the grand scheme is stupid because he never does it. I actually think the Chiefs are going to run the ball more this year. I know. I deserve that. I do. I didn't say a lot.
Hello?
I didn't
Is this on? Hello?
I didn't say league average. I said they're more.
Thank God you're not filling in for Jim Miller this afternoon because Pat might have just crushed you with that one.
Well,
Or Clyde.
I think they may run the ball more. I think they realize they have to diversify. These are their words, not mine. They need to diversify the offense. That would be one way to do it. See, it also helps protect the defense. Puts a little less pressure on your quarterback. Crazy thoughts, I know, but it's just a possibility. I understand.
It does also help that you have Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Yeah, but it does. It's Andy Reid.
It's Andy Reid.
Unfortunately,
it's Andy Reid.
22 years of play calling.
Fourth and 1 inch. He'd rather throw the football.
Third and a foot is a passing down to Andy Reid. It just is.
That's all. It doesn't matter who the running back is. It's
Hall
not
of
that Andy
Fame
Reid's
coach.
not had running backs before.
It's just, I go all the way back to his early days with the Eagles. Trust me, Eagles fans say the same thing. They love Andy Reid. It just don't know why 3rd and 1 was a passing down. Just don't get it. For as tough as they were physically on defense with Jimmy Johnson as their defensive coordinator, I have no idea why they would. And they had some big offensive linemen too. They had tackles under Andy Reid, and he just threw the ball all the damn time.
Well, even Sproles, was he there for Andy Reid?
He was for a time, but they had Westbrook. They had, but it was more a philosophy.
But running backs that would catch
it
balls.
didn't matter. It's the same with the Chiefs, by the way. It's why, I thought he would run the ball more after the Super Bowl because what worked in the Super Bowl, given in the fourth quarter, given the ball to Williams. All right. The run put the game away. I mean, it was average 7 yards a carry in that game. I mean, it was actually effective. It's amazing. And then when the running game works,
everything else falls into place, doesn't it?
Unbelievable. Yes. Oh, well, I deserve that, though. I do. I do. I was a very good laughter, and it was genuine. There was no anything that was involved there.
But I'm just trying to think, if Christian McCaffrey's going to be dealt, it's one thing to say they're going to deal him. It's another to get someone to accept it and to give you what you want. And the Bills, the Chiefs, teams that have Super Bowl or bust mentalities are the teams that you've got to be talking to.
And there are very few teams that are based around a running back. And you could argue if there's only two, although Pittsburgh may be this year, but the Titans and the Colts are both based around a running back. Miller and Moulton. Just some of what's going on. A lot of golf news today, though. Golf news on the course, in the booth, and beyond. We'll get to some of it next. Miller and Moulton, thanks for listening. Florida Sports Network.
Golfers, are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost clubhead speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap Kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the Chicken Bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
By the way, if the Rays, I know nobody cares, but if the Rays, I know that.
Okay, I like
Although,
it.
believe it or not, when that guy was on, our numbers went up. But if I'm a Rays fan and the Rays don't make some deals here the next 6 weeks, I mean, the Rays pitching's good enough to win. I mean, McClanahan's a 1.
Right.
You get in a best of 3. Obviously, there'll be a wild card. Who cares? I mean, you're in a best of 3. You're sending Shane McClanahan to the mound in game 1.
Yep.
Okay. Name me the team. I mean, right now, the teams that are 3 through 6 would be.
No, it's the best pitcher that anybody has.
Twins, Guardians, Toronto, Red Sox are the 4 teams that are 3
There's
through
nobody
6.
that's got an ace as good as you.
So one of those is out. You put Shane McClanahan in. You're
Right.
McClanahan's
But
better than Barrios
I
in
get
Toronto.
what I actually get what that Kevin was that who we had there. I get what his point is, that you're banged up. Do you just try to ride this out instead of trading for somebody? I don't know.
I would.
You got 3 players that are banged up. You 3 best hitters are banged up right now.
Right. My point, though, is, the Braves didn't give up their
top 4 prospects.
They didn't give up. I don't know how many of their top 8 or 10 that they gave up either. They just used the depth in their system to rent guys. All the guys I mentioned. I mean, Dominic Smith's got multiple years, but he's young. He's making $1.5 million. But the other guys, all free agents at the end of the year.
Right.
You don't have to give up a lot for them.
Well, and that was, he kind of said that because he said, they picked up 3 guys that they let go last year. Well, that's what they'd be doing this year. They'd just be renting guys.
You guys see that someone in the crowd at the Warriors parade had a goat with a Steph Curry jersey on?
I did.
I did not.
They made them stop the bus so Steph could take a picture with it.
Whoa. What is this? When if Morikawa and others go to LIV?
Well, that's the big one. Morikawa and Hovland.
All right. Matt Vincenzi, we've had him on the show, is the one tweeting that.
Because Morikawa is like what, 4th Fifth in the
He
world.
says, when, if Morikawa and others go to LAV, it's time to wave the white flag, Jay. Pick up the phone and call Norman. Coexist or suffer greatly. These are the only two options. I don't know about that.
He's also 25. He's like the future of the PGA.
Well,
Him and a couple others, obviously.
Say this, though. Don't know if he moves the needle. Terrific
I
player.
think Zalatoris could down the road. I mean, he's
I
got to
think-
win. I mean, he's likable.
I think Hovland moves the needle more than Morikawa. I could be wrong. I think more golf fans like Victor Hovland than Colin Morikawa.
Mark, I agree. Those Zalatoris, that would be insane.
I think he could.
Yeah.
There's something about him. I think
There's
a
he has,
likability
I
factor.
think he has no interest. He's never, ever, ever, ever been linked. Zalatoris.
No. I said move the needle. He just.
I'm
said
sorry.
he looks to be a guy. He's people.
Yes.
My wife. These are just when I like him.
Yes.
Yep. He's got a likability factor about him.
Does.
He's blonde. He's good looking.
Yep. Seems like a nice guy.
Seems nice.
Plays good golf. Right.
Plays fast.
Yeah.
At this point,
Him and Matthew Fitzpatrick. Oh my God.
A dream.
I wanted to kiss the television screen.
at this point, who are the locks in the PGA?
What do you mean?
Like, these people will never join the LIV.
Rory McIlroy
And
Justin Thomas.
Scotty.
Yeah.
Really?
Never heard anything one way or another.
I think Scotty will stay.
I think it's Rory and JT. With Rahm, I'd give it a year. That's the other thing. The LIV keeps making moves like this. You wait to see where people are a year from now.
True. The whole thing could just blow up. Good or bad. Ten seconds.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
"21 minutes past the hour. Thanks so much for being with us. Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap? Today was the day when. Final thoughts, all 20 minutes away. FloridaSportsNetwork.com is where you go. You miss any part of the show, it's where you download our podcasts. FloridaSportsNetwork.com. And, we had John Forslund on top of the 8 o'clock hour. We had Kevin Weiss, who has a Rays podcast. Telling you, Rays need to make some moves. They'd be a dangerous team in the playoffs. They would. They're pitching and defense in a short series. Their strengths play well in the playoffs. I mean, they've had far more playoff success than you would think, considering their payroll and all that over the years. When they get to the playoffs, they rarely are one and done. Last year was the aberration. Red Sox taking them out in a first-round best-of-5. So I think the Rays should look at the Braves from last year. Braves were scuffling. They had injuries. They had the left fielder who was suspended for the year because of domestic violence. Acuna tore up his knee, and they were 6.5 back. And it was August 1st, and the GM said, I don't know what to tell you. I think we're still a pretty good team. We just need a little bit of help. Went out and got Jorge Soler and Jock Peterson and bats like that. And,
Well, I like your idea if you're going to do it to go out, don't use high-end prospects, use your depth, and basically rent a couple of players. You're going to get healthier. You got your 3 top bats that are all hurt.
Right. But Franco's coming back.
No, exactly.
He'll be back in 2 weeks.
Well, they're all going to be back.
Oh, I don't know. They're worried about Margot, the right fielder there. The other thing, you put a couple bats in the lineup of Rosarena, might start to hit better. But so we had Kevin Weiss on in the 7 o'clock hour, John Forslund, Scott Jackson checking in with the DC sports scene, and Daniel Snyder giving 2 middle fingers to Congress. And Well, I mean, let's face it. Many of us would like to give two middle fingers to Congress, but you
But
know,
we're not invited to go speak to
Right.
them and then give them two middle fingers.
right. And besides, we're
Should be the most well-liked he's been in a long time. If you really think about it, this is
Right.
probably the most popular thing Daniel Snyder's done since he's owned the team, David.
Mark, maybe this is smart by Daniel Snyder to give the Eli Manning to Congress. Maybe this will actually improve his standing.
Can't hurt it.
Who knows? So FloridaSportsNetwork.com. It's also where you go for our poll question, which is a little off center today.
Because story out that Cutter is threatening 7 years in prison for World Cup fans who engage in premarital sex.
Right.
Drinking is also illegal in Qatar. So if you're visiting for the World Cup, which could you go without? Sex, booze, or just lock me up? A little less than half of you are saying just lock me up.
FloridaSportsNetwork.com. That Mark Miller, the David Moulton on Twitter. Nick Faldo's retiring from the broadcast booth. He's doing so in 2 months, and that means not just CBS, but Golf Channel Thursdays and Fridays. And he's retiring to Montana, him and his wife. And he said, you'll find me fishing in the river. That's it. I'm done. I think he's 65, 66, right around there. And he's like, yeah, it's a good time.
You know, and I you see Jack playing golf occasionally here. Nick doesn't look like he ever wants to touch a club again.
Well, and Jack hardly does at all
now
either. Yeah, he plays more tennis than he does golf.
But
yes.
Jack into his 60s still played golf. You saw him on the course, whether it was grandsons or things like that. Nick seems perfectly content never touching a club again.
Well, the other thing, Nick seems like one of those guys that if he can't play golf at a certain level, he's not really interested in playing. And
bingo.
The only reason it was, forget what year we did the Senior Open. It was in New England. It was 17 or 18. And Nick was getting back in golfing shape because I think the Open was at St. Andrews. And he wanted to play. And I think it was like his last time he was going to be able to play it at St. Andrews. So he was trying to play his way into some sort of golfing form so that he didn't embarrass himself at the Open Championship. But yeah, Nick, there are plenty of events on NBC. Nick could have played a lot of Champions Tour golf if he wanted, and he was never interested.
Nope. And I wonder if this Live Tour had anything to do with him stepping away when he did. Just not want.
Yeah, I don't think so.
He doesn't like to talk about controversy. He likes to talk about golf. I don't think these two tours and the controversy and players leaving, I don't think that has any interest to him at all. Where others, you and I, as sports talk show hosts, are going, hey, this is.
Oh, yeah, we love this
My goodness, really? June, July, no football going on? You're giving me Brooks Koepka? You're giving me Bryson DeChambeau leaving? We love it.
And also, Brooks Koepka's today, by the way, in case you missed it. Brooks Koepka, when we were signing on the air at 6 a.m., Koepka had scrapped his Twitter bio, which listed him as a PGA Tour player and Nike whatever. And at 6 a.m., it was blank. So, we're not the smartest guys in the world, but we looked at one another and went, I think we know what's coming. And sure enough, by about 7:30, 8 o'clock, the Telegraph and Sky Sports and some places overseas, they've officially reporting that Brooks Koepka has left the PGA Tour and has signed on with the LIV Golf Series. Now, his brother had signed on and played in the London event a couple of weeks ago.
And this means his brother won't get kicked off as the tour gets better.
Right. He may be golfer 48.
Now he's got a teammate.
So, and just to tie it all together, it shows, let's be honest. Phil would have walked right into the CBS booth.
And now Trevor Immelman is going to be the voice of golf.
Yeah, on CBS. That's fascinating because they've had Ian Baker Finch for a long time. And they went with someone younger, a little more current with the guys on tour. Also, isn't he the President's Cup captain this year?
Would make sense.
I think he is. So, talk about being current. couple of interesting situations there. A couple of what would have been really good players on his team have left for the LIV. And if the Jay Monahan's rules are right, because doesn't the PGA Tour do the President's Cup?
Well, and DJ and Koepka were guys that you at least are right there for the Americans.
Mm-hmm. I actually think they're happy not to be playing the President's Cup. They'll be bummed if they're not allowed to be on a Ryder Cup team. I actually think they're like, I've done 3-4 President's Cups. I'm good.
The only reason I think they like that is they turned it around where they're at least making some money on that one.
True. And also, a few of them have been really competitive lately. I mean, there were some routes there for a while, but the last few have been tight. So at least it's been a genuine competition. But I think Immelman's the international team's President's Cup captain.
Masters champ. So he brings that element, which is almost a prerequisite to work on CBS.
Well, and you also think even though Venturi never won the Masters, he held a special place in Masters history because he finished second as an amateur. And they absolutely loved that.
In fact, that's to Augusta, that might as well be winning, David, particularly at that day and time.
Well, and also the guy he lost to was Arnie. And Arnie had to, birdie, I think 17 and 18 to beat him.
And Venturi adored Augusta National.
Yes.
And could talk about the experience and the and the members as well as, so, and now you go to Immelman, who won the 07 or 08.
I think it was 07.
07. I should know, I was there.
Oh, that was the one you went to?
Yeah.
I worked the Sergio one and went to the Schwartzel one.
Wrote about that one too, didn't you?
I did. He's the last guy that was going to win that tournament. His name was too funny sounding,
The good, the bad, and the ugly, or as we call it, the Charles Schwartzel. Today was a day when, all on the other side, Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfectly grilled marinated sirloin steak topped with provolone cheese, grilled onions, peppers, mushrooms, crispy bacon, juicy tomatoes, and creamy mayo. Boom! Made-to-order crispy fries can be paired with the Gator, the Cuban, the chicken bomb, or the Italian. Love local. Eat delicious with John Smith Subs. Find a John Smith Subs location near you today.
Golfers, are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost club head speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap Kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Oh.
Tie game in the top of the ninth. Jock Peterson gets a standing O from Atlanta on the road. That's great. Also, you're right about Matt Fitzpatrick. He looks like he just graduated high school. He's a child.
Kellogg Company will split into 3 companies focused on cereal, snacks, and plant-based foods. Wow.
Yeah, here it is. Yeah. She just snapped that club in half over his knee.
Frank Mann died.
Who?
Lee County Commissioner Frank Mann, former commissioner.
Oh, wow.
He's 80. I guess he was still a commissioner.
Wow. That's a biggie. Current or former? Is it still?
Current.
Oh.
Steph Curry is the first non-forward to win Finals MVP in 12 years. Last guard to do it was Kobe. Also, there's Kevin Durant again getting his feelings hurt.
Thanks for listening. And now, more of Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the hour. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Did you see Ndamukong Suh gave an interview yesterday on ESPN's NFL Live? And he was asked about his future.
Right. Said he wanted to play, but said Tampa's.
Looks like the Bucs are out of the picture.
Yes.
So where does he go? It's a pretty good player that's available in mid-June. Thank you very much.
I don't think he'll be a Ram.
No, he's already done that.
I know.
But how about Raiders?
Look at, first off, teams can find the money, but
first off, if you're Cleveland and
I
you
was
have the
going to say
most
the
salary
Browns.
cap
I was going to
room,
say the Browns. That's right where I was going, David.
you have the most salary cap room left in the league. You get a chance to add a quality player like that. He's going year to year. You don't have to commit more than this year. He's played for as little as $8 million. Come on, you got 30, 40 million in cap room.
I'm right there with you.
I mean, and you may have to account for the fact that you're not going to have your star quarterback for most, if not all, the season. You may have to win low-scoring games.
But you get a Sue and a Myles Garrett there.
Well, and also Clowney re-signed.
Right.
I mean,
that's some defense.
Yeah.
That's a front that you got to contend with.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
How good's your offensive line, Cincinnati?
Exactly. And also think about what we have to stop in the postseason if we get there. Got to go through the Chiefs and the Bills. Well, you got to get to the star quarterback. It's the best
And you're
way to do
pushing
it.
right through the middle with two hogs?
Yeah.
Woo.
All right. Just a thought. That's why I wanted
It's
to bring it
time
up.
for someone to take back this segment, if for no other reason than to stop David from talking about Meghan and Harry. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
Oh, don't get me. Apparently, there's a cover-up going on.
Yeah, I
across
saw
the
that.
pond in which the royal family there wants to just, end all
Some bullying cover-up or whatever.
Well, yeah, she was accused of bullying 3 years ago, and supposedly they did an investigation. They don't even want to release what, the investigation revealed. They're trying to make amends, Mark.
We start in 1788 today, David. New Hampshire. Becoming the ninth state to ratify the U.S. Constitution.
Oh, okay.
So it comes into full effect. 1939, the Yankees announced Lou Gehrig's retirement when doctors reveal he has ALS. 1946, Bill Veeck buys the Indians for $2.2 million. What didn't Bill Veeck buy?
Yeah, really.
Big day in 48, David, because Columbia Records unveil the 33 1/3 RPM LP. Put the 78 out of business, David. 55, Johnny Cash debuts the top 10 song Cry, Cry, Cry. 64, Jim Bunning, Perfect Game as Philadelphia beats the Mets on Father's Day. 65, Gary Player wins the U.S. Open by 3 in a playoff, completes his Grand Slam by the age of 29. 1966, Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf? The movie premieres. Elizabeth Taylor would win the Best Actress for this role in 67. And what I realized in looking at this is just how dirty hot Liz Taylor was back in the day.
A stunningly beautiful woman.
Holy cow. Because all in my head is the old Liz Taylor,
Right, weight went up and down.
but just
right.
the older Liz Taylor. She was older. I was a little kid, and she was an older woman. You start seeing, and whoever does the site where I get most of the stuff has a shot of her when she has to be a much younger woman. She was gorgeous.
Oh, yeah. She was a star
Right.
in this country. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That wasn't Jersey hot, though. That was dirty hot.
Got it.
Okay. 1970, Tony Jacklin wins the U.S. Open on the same day that Brazil and Pele win the World Cup. They would be the first nation. Pele would be the first player to win the World Cup 3 times. 71 at Marion, Trevino wins his second Open by 3 in a Monday playoff with Jack.
That's the one in which he threw the fake snake at Jack on the tee Monday morning, just to loosen things up right before they were introduced. And Trevino threw the snake at Jack, and Jack took a step back like, what the heck is that? And it was a fake snake.
78, Evita premieres in London. It's really just for David. Anytime I can go Broadway, I do it for you, David.
Don't cry for me, Argentina.
81, Walter Becker and Donald Fagen disband Steely Dan. The good news is that they would reunite. And even though Donald Fagen's now not with us, I'm going to go see him on July 30th at the Barbara B. Mann. 82, John Hinckley found not guilty of his assassination attempt of President Reagan by reason of insanity. Wasn't that the day that the not guilty by insanity took hold? Didn't everybody try to plead insanity after that, David? You got to help me out a little bit. That seemed to be the crux of the insanity defense right there.
And wasn't Hinckley just released? He's not under any supervision at all right now.
Today at 86, Bo Jackson signs a 3-year contract to play with the Kansas City Royals.
Man, that's the injury. It really is. That was the injury. He was tearing both sports up. We're overwhelmed by Ohtani and what he's doing, pitching and hitting at the level that he's doing at. Bo Jackson was an all-star outfielder, and was there a better running back? Think about it. Walter Payton's a year away from retiring. Sanders isn't in the league yet, and he was starting over Marcus Allen on the Raiders. Tony Dorsett
and the running
was
back
at the
was
end.
still, and running back was still the most important position in the National Football League, David.
Tony Dorsett was at the end.
You had to have a running back to win.
Earl Campbell was done. Billy Sims was about done. John Riggins had retired. Bo Jackson stepped in the league.
All-Pro.
Yeah, at the same damn time.
Right. 87, at the Olympic Club, Scott Simpson would win by 1 stroke over Tom Watson. 88, the Lakers would beat the Pistons in 7. And David, today in 1997, with the first pick of the NHL draft, the Boston Bruins would select from the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds, Joe Thornton.
Who's still active. Ladies and gentlemen, that's right. He was the first pick of the
97
draft. He's still active. He played this year for the Florida Panthers.
98, Lee Jansen comes back from 7 to beat Payne Stewart.
Oh, I hated that. I was never a Jansen fan.
And I was a huge Payne Stewart fan. How could you not be?
I know, and he won 2 U.S. Opens. Payne did win the next year, though.
2002, Lennox Lewis would knock out Mike Tyson.
Memphis. Yeah, and that's when Tyson afterwards is like, yeah, I'm shot. I'm done.
2012, the Heat would win their second, beating Oklahoma City.
Oklahoma City, people forget, they had home court in that series. They were the betting favorite in that series. That was Westbrook and Durant and Harden, all young. They were the future of the NBA.
They won like 60 games that year.
And they won game 1 convincingly.
Thank you.
And people were like, man, what are the Heat going to do? Blah, blah, blah. No, Heat going to win 4 in a row.
Rip off 4 in a row. 2015 at Chambers Bay, Jordan Spieth at 21 becomes the youngest winner since 1923 at the U.S. Open.
DJ 3-putting from about 18 feet for Eagle. He makes it. He wins. 2 putts at playoff. Need to reject it.
And it was a year ago that Carl Nassib becomes the first openly gay player in the NFL. If you were born today, you share your birthdays with, no longer with us, Maureen Stapleton and Benazir Bhutto, the 12th Prime Minister of Pakistan. It's really for the Charlie Wilson's War line. If you've seen it, you get it, you know it. If not, go watch it because it's an outstanding movie. Those still with us, Ray Davies from the Kinks is 78 years old today. I love this one. Both Meredith Baxter Burney and Michael Gross are both 75. That's the husband and wife
team on
Family Ties.
Right. What are the
They're
odds?
born on the same day.
How about that?
Niles Lofgren from the E Street Band, born today in 1951. Rick Sutcliffe is 66. Juliette Lewis is 49. Matt Kuchar is 44. Tyler Childers is 31. If you don't know who that is, go listen to his music. You'll be better off for it. And Scotty Scheffler's 26 today. And that's today was a day when.
2 things. First off, you a little surprised Kuchar hasn't joined the LIV?
If there's anybody that likes money more than Matt Kuchar on the tour, I don't know who it is.
And he's losing status. He needed to win. He didn't play in the Masters. He's losing status. And he's about a year away from being damn near exemptions only. He's had one good finish this year on the PGA Tour, finished third in the Valero Texas Open there. I'm just going to throw that one out there.
Popular guy, too.
He is. He is. Also, 1965 on this day, Mr. Tambourine Man released and credited with beginning kind of the folk rock revolution.
Go birds with me anytime you want, David.
Okay.
You've heard folks elsewhere mock Florida is gonna Florida. Well, Mark Miller sees it differently. He calls it the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
For the good today, we go to one of my former hometowns, Raleigh, North Carolina, where John Rogers stopped at the Capitol Food Mart on Friday. He bought himself a $20 scratch off, and he said, you know what? This is my Father's Day gift to myself. $2 million. Happy Father's Day, John. Good for you. I'd have to buy a scratcher for that, Dad. So I don't feel badly about it because I never buy scratchers. When's the last time you bought a scratcher?
I do quick picks, but I don't do scratchers.
Right, I'm the same way. You should start buying scratchers. For the back, go to Bonita Springs, where Robert Mendoza forced his way into the Bonita Bay community with his truck crashing through the gate. And then after racing around there, being chased by police, took off, was found by the canine unit and arrested, fleeing and eluding, reckless driving, leaving the scene of a crash, among other things that he was arrested for. Oh, he was a felon that was previously wanted from another arrest. So he's going to get to know the folks at Lee County really well. Finally, the ugly. We go to Cypress, Texas, where a foursome's getting ready to take off playing golf when a Range Rover comes flying through the course, followed by a police car. The guys warming up said, luckily no one was hit. The driver crashed, and 20-year-old Gray Martinez was arrested along with his passenger for evading police. No word on what they shot on the one hole they played on the course. And that is the good, the bad, and the ugly on today, June 21st, 2022. Not much to choose from today. Bad, good, bad, and ugly today. And I didn't mail that in. I looked. I tried. That's all I could give you. Society is disappointing me.
I saw a stat. I don't know if it's true. It's at least close, though, that 9 of the last 21 majors have been won by players who are now on the LIV tour. I mean, you can go all the way back. DJ won the U.S. Open in 2016, but that makes it more than 21 majors. I don't even think Sergio's Masters win counts because that was the first major of 2017. And if you're doing the last 21 majors, I mean, if you do 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, that's 5 years, that's 20 majors. Okay, there was 1 year the British didn't get played, so that's 19. And then we've had how many majors this year? 3, so that's 22. So maybe you go back to Sergio winning the Masters.
Probably it, because that would throw Bryson in for his Open. That would throw just
Patrick Reed in for winning the Masters. Right. All 4 of Koepka's majors, or no? No, he won the 2017. Well, yeah, won the 2017 U.S. Open, 2018 U.S. Open, 2018 PGA, 2019 PGA. So all 4 of Koepka's. So 4 with Koepka, 1 with DJ, 1 with Bryson, 1 with Patrick Reed, Phil's PGA. I mean, that's 5, 6, 7. That's 8. You know, if you count Sergio, that's 9.
It's got to go to Sergio's.
So, I mean, that's 40% of the last 5.5 years worth of majors. 40% of the last 5.5 years of golf have been won by guys on the LIV series. Now, Sergio's now in his 40s. Phil's 52. You know, Patrick Reed's not playing as well as he was a couple years ago. Neither's DJ, for that matter, who's only won once since he won the Masters. And Koepka's not playing as well either. I mean, none of these guys are on the ascent.
No, but do you really believe that all the good golf that Koepka and DJ are going to play is past them? I don't.
I don't either.
Same with DeChambeau.
Especially DeChambeau. 28, after all.
Answer's contended in a couple of majors. He's been around. He's not won. He's not that type of player yet, but he's contended. He's been there on Saturday.
Well, and I think he was even in the final group with DJ on Sunday at the 2020 Masters. And he's only 31 years old. The key will be Morikawa and Hovland's names are out there. Talk about young ascent, both I think in the top 10. We'll see what happens. But Brooks Koepka officially joining the LIV series today. Don't know if he, gave up his PGA Tour membership, whether that means anything.
And I don't think it does to any of them because, as you've said all along, I think they're banking on whatever lawsuit's going to be filed and getting their membership back through the courts.
And if not, well, they're being financially compensated.
And then some.
Miller and Moulton. Seth Everett tomorrow. Game 4 of the Stanley Cup Finals tomorrow as well.
Bring your big mouth to John Smith Subs and indulge in their overstuffed subs with the freshest quality ingredients. Enjoy our famous steak bomb with perfect